it's good because you could have more time from vacation, but at the same time, now there are like a lot of plans and things like that, so it's complicated. And I know this is quite intense, so but it's great to have so many applications, and mostly it's great to see how many people wants to learn Unreal Engine and to join our community. So I have been chosen. Exactly. You have been chosen. Okay, so 10 past. Let's start. Again, good morning, everybody. For those who entered a little bit later, happy to be with you today. Again, hopefully you don't get tired of me. We're a little bit on the Ecuador, as we say, like on the middle of the boot camp. It's going to be our sixth class from 11. So it's like we're just in the middle. So no, thank you very much. So yeah, so today we're going to talk about control rig, and this is a quite important class. I mean, all of them are important. It's just that if you want to know how to animate in Unreal, we learned how to put animations, but today we're going to see how to key them, but most importantly, how to generate a rig for a character. So you will know that a rig, basically, like the face is going to just go like a very, it's an overview that's like very top level. But basically, you have a character that it can start like a static mesh in a way. And actually, oh, by the way, and this is, I'm really excited about this. In 5.3, you will be able to generate your own skeleton and wave map in Unreal Engine. So it's not yet for sculpting or for modeling characters, but we're getting there. Yeah, it's really exciting. I know that's big. It is. It is. You know, I've been working with this for a long time, and it's like every time it was like, why can't I add this bone or this thing here? We will be able to do that afterwards. Can you rig non characters? I mean, you can rig whatever has a skeleton. So I also do this class or a similar class for vehicles, for example. So sometimes we work with vehicles for automotive. We do with chaos, that it's more about physics and this kind of things. And but it also can be done with control rig. So yeah. So as I was saying, you have the character, and then you need to put the skeleton, and you need to create the wave map so that you know how to move this, like the vertices, depending on the movement of the skeleton. So, but for now, all of that must be done in a DCC software, and then you import it. So we saw in the ingestion class how to import an FBX with a skeleton. We saw how to that if we imported an FBX with an animation, we could decide. Actually, we will do that from Mixamo today. So we could see that if we remove the skeleton, basically it imports the character or the skeletal mesh in a way as a static mesh, because it removes the skeleton and therefore it removes the animation. We can bring the skeleton without the static mesh. So and we can bring an animation and apply it to a skeleton. So we have this kind of the wizard that we can decide what do we want to import or not. So if you, for example, bring a character from Mixamo at the very beginning, you bring the skeleton and the mesh. So you would bring both, but then you can download more animations and you can just say, use the previous skeleton, the ones you imported at the very beginning, and then add these animations, and that's totally fine. So yeah, so the point here, let's continue. We're going to see how to rig. So today's class, we're going to go through the basics. And if everybody is understanding it, we can go a little bit further. So I have like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 hours of content of the class. We're going to be so the very basics is to understand what a control rig is, how we use it in Unreal Engine, how to create an FK, to understand a little bit what's a variable, what's a function. And we won't enter too much into functions, but just like for you to know that, I mean, it's a group of nodes. We will see how to code in a way, like how to visual program this rig. And then we'll go into an IK. So basically, for you who don't know, there is FK that it's forward kinematic, and then IK that it's inverse kinematics. So forward kinematics basically is that I get a bone or an articulation, and then I have a control. So we are going to be working with Euler transforms. So basically, I can decide how to move it, how to rotate it, or even how to scale it. And then an IK control basically gives a goal and then a chain of bones. And basically, it's like I'm moving my hand or my wrist, and basically it's moving the chains that are in that IK in order to match that movement. So we will see it easily, and it will be pretty simple. So the concepts, I think, that are going to be very simple today and very easy to understand. The process, if it's your first time, so we have here a little bit more than 100 people that haven't done a rig before. So we're going to explain a little bit for you too. Okay. So then we have an aim. So the aim control. Oh, inside the IK, we'll talk about the pole. So basically, the pole is when you have this chain of bones. Basically, you're moving the wrist. So it's like, okay, it's here, here, or here. But you know that although I could have my shoulder or my clavicle like not moving, and the wrist here, I could move my elbow. Okay, so this is controlled by the pole. And the aim, basically, we're going to do it for the head, and it means that I will have a sphere, and I will be controlling. You will see that the metahumans basically have an FK, so you will be able to rotate the head, but at the same time, I want you to see how to do an aim, and the aim is the other way around. Basically, you control where the head where the head is looking at. Okay. Instead of controlling through the pivot from the transform, we control it through the aim. And finally, we'll see a meta-human control rig and a little bit how we put it into the sequencer and how we control it. We will see there's like the name doesn't count right now, or like a widget, where we will be able to, instead of going to the big list of controls, we'll be able to click it and select the different controls, and switch between IK and FK and all these kind of things. By the end, we also can do arrays. There are like many things, and we will see the project. But I want also to see a little bit of how to do a retarget. Okay, so I know that many of you have already asked about that, and hopefully we have time during the Q&A. We will go through the retargeting. Okay, and we will do a Mixamo, and we'll download, we'll import a Mixamo character, and then we will do this kind of retargeting. A basic one, we'll go through the concept, but we'll do a full body IK. Okay, and it's pretty easy. Basically, that depends on the IK rig that we have, the mannequin and the metahuman. We'll see that they already have it. So we will use those for retargeting, and we will create our own for the Mixamo character. And yeah, and we'll use a little Samba animation. So let's start with the next slides. So we'll see that we can have the plugin. I mean, basically, let's go to the project. You know that we're working with this Epic Bootcamp project. Yeah, so please, all of you, open it. And if you go to the Edit tab and you go down here to plugins, you can all see my screen, can't you? Yeah. So basically, we should have here in all plugins, if we put rig, we have control rig enabled, okay? And this is, you have control rig spline. This is a data thing. We're not going to see it today. It's a little bit more advanced, but just for you to know that you can create like a spline and rig the spline. So yeah, so we have this, we need this to be enabled, but as I was mentioning, it's already enabled by default, okay? So we will start building animation rigs with some familiar functionality. We will expose these controls for animation, and we'll see how to work with them in Sequencer. And well, you can actually write scripts to automate your workflow. You have a new Python workflow. We won't enter that today, okay? Because that requires Python knowledge. And I could do a poll again, but we're not going to enter Python right now. So what can you do with control rig? And a few examples. So we have some really nice examples. I'm going to open, let's see if I can get this. I actually had them here. So there is one that is called the Totician, and it's really cool. I'm going to double click. So this is like a very advanced control rig, okay? And it's quite cool. You have all of this. And I mean, we can't be explaining this one. And actually we'll see the MetaHuman, but we'll go a little bit through it. But it's actually, both are quite complicated, and it could take like quite a lot of time. So we're going to focus on a simpler one today, so that we can actually go through many things, but not very complicated. Okay, so you can see here, well, this is a little bit how the materials are done. And in case you're interested, I'm going to leave this here, and I'm going to put this here also. Okay, and you can see it. So I'm going to optimize, share my sound, optimize for video. And it's 8 minutes, so I'm not going to put everything. So you can see that basically, oops, sorry about that, you know,
including all the legendary items, skills.
Separated from the drone.
So you can see this, it's a full movie, it's a trailer that it's done in Unreal Engine. So you can see also a few things that are also done with the rig, like this kind of elements there. But then when we enter the cave, so they are all animated inside Unreal. Yes. So this project is done inside Unreal. Okay. So please just feel free to just like check it out, and that's it. So we also have the Meerkat. So we have the Meerkat demo, and you can see that it's from Epic. Oops, I just went to directly to Epic Games. Meerkat. So you can download it, and it's a really nice video too. This wasn't done with Vital, and I can see the video here, but you can see this was done in Unreal
surprisingly
Engine 4.
pretty performant. I think the initial
opportunity
Okay.
to look
Everything
at
was
the developers
here.
So at the beginning of the
and work with
I'm going
more
to
vanilla off-the-shelf
this
toolkits.
video
Really,
here, so
our
that you
modeler
can
Nathan
check it out.
would actually grow the
we would use in film pulse.
allows to change
They
the
talk
timing
about
of those
everything
release
here,
mechanisms
about
and
how they did
shift
the
the
characters
feathers on the
and
eagle pose some unique challenges. So the
Okay.
solution
Useful.
But
Of
I
the
think there is
more
also
advances
a
of
part of the rig. No?
technology.
right up to the very end.
Well, but anyway, just check it out. This is a very interesting. This one, you have it like realistic hair and feathers in Unreal Engine. So you know that that Epic Games does this kind of tech demos that are very, very interesting. So you can download it. I think it's also here as the samples. Should be Meerkat demo. Okay. Another one, Slay animation sample. This one's very interesting too. You can download it. It's 100% free. And this is also done in Unreal Engine. And what else? We have the mannequins. Mannequin. Done by Epic. Just let me check. So mannequins pack. And we'll see also the control rig samples pack. Okay.
You have them.
Yeah, and the two t-shirt that you have it here, and the Slay Wine Walker Echo. So just for you to know, Echo is the name of this character that it was launched for Unreal Engine 5. Valley of the Ancient, it also has the control rig for this. Actually, it's very interesting because it's separated. So it's separated meshes inside here, so they can move like the different assets and the different static meshes can move. And I can't remember, I think it was the car configurator. It has a rig for the car. I'm not 100% sure, but just check it if you want it. So you have here, you can see that we have the mannequins. We will see them, and these are rigged. You have these examples. You can see here both Queen and Manny, and you can see these two, like a box with a rig and this puppet here. Okay, so just explore them. I think it's really interesting, and many times you know that we're here to teach and to train, but you can also learn quite a lot from different examples. So this is all you have. I mean, I'm going to put it here, but it's quite simple. Okay, just go to the Epic Games and you'll have it there. Epic Games part here, and you'll see them. And Slay animation sample, it's here. Money and Queen, Money Queen. Yeah, you got it. It's in the sense of humor. So yeah, there are also things here, and the meerkat. I don't know if I put it, but well, it's in samples. All the eagle and the meerkat both have a control rig.
David,
Yeah.
did you change the quality of the streaming?
Yeah, I put it for the video, so I'm going to go back. Thank you very much, and that should
Now
be
it should
better.
be okay, guys.
Yeah, I optimized it for video and showing sound. The bad thing about that is that when I go back to slides and Unreal Engine, it's worse. So thank you for mentioning this. So how to create a control rig? So basically we have two options. We can go and like right click and go to control rig, or we can actually click on a skeletal mesh and say create a control rig. Okay, so just let's go here. Where do I have Unreal? I cannot. Here it is. So opening this project, one of the things that we're going to do is like not in sequencer, in 6 control rig, we see that we have this level that actually has nothing. So it's just like an empty level. And then we have this control rig, okay? So this control rig, it's a little bit advanced, not so much that it's very complicated. It's about the approach. So we're going to do like a simple approach. And then if we have time, we're going to get here, okay? So, but we will start with easy things. And then when we feel that we have understood them, we will start going into here and we will see a few things like functions, variables here. And I mean, some like constructions event and so on. Okay, so branches, booleans, switchers, and these kind of things. but we'll start with easier things now. So as I was saying, one of the things that we can do is that we can come here, we go to animation, and we go to control rig. So one of the things that you have is control rig and control rig shape library. So we're now going to create a control rig, and we're going to say CR from control rig, and we're going to put here Doomsday. Oh, I nearly forgot. You know, I like to do a folder that says in class. So I'm just going to put everything inside here. Actually, it's here. I'm going to put it up. You know, this is not important for you. It's just like how I do things while I'm in class. So I go to 06, I have in class, and I have this one. So right now I'm going to double click and I have nothing, okay? So if I go to rig hierarchy, as I'll see that everything is empty, I have this button here that says import hierarchy, okay? So I will click this button and please realize that I have all these 4 tabs and I'm going to rig hierarchy, okay? So click it here and it will tell you mesh. Actually, it's a skeletal mesh. You'll see it because it has this like pink here. And when I go to the drop list, I'll be looking for Steel Doomsday. Both Steel and Steel Doomsday share a skeleton, but here it's asking for a skeletal mesh, okay? Because it will use the skeleton, but it needs a preview mesh. So you know that all the skeletal meshes basically are kind of preview meshes of the skeletal with a skeleton. So I'm going to be using the Steel Doomsday. I get it here and I click OK. So nice. We have our Paragon asset. You'll know that we got this from here. Okay, we got this from Steel, Paragon, Steel. Is this guy here? Okay, so just in case you wanna remember it, I'll put the link here. And I'll go back here. So there you go. So we have our Doomsday character, and we are realizing that we have all the hierarchy of the skeleton in this tab. So you see the bone icon. So I have all the bone hierarchy, but I still don't have any controls. And that's what we're going to start doing. Before that, we're going to check, and we want to see that we have something that it's forwards solve event. This one here. You see, I click it and it gets there. And well, the exit, that is just like the standard exit. We have the curve container. So basically all our curves are here. And then I have my blueprint. So we will talk about functions and variables afterwards. But right now, the most important thing to start knowing the concepts, it's something that is called forward solve and backwards solve and the construction. So this, and then we have backwards and forwards. So the construction event, one of the things that actually it's not only for the rig, it's for everything inside Unreal, is that when we open something, when we construct something, when we spawn it, when we build it, basically like the very first phase, well, we have in some elements, in some objects of Unreal, we have the pre-construction event, but basically here in the rig, we have the construction event. So that is generated while it's constructed and not every single frame, okay, or every single tick. So the point is, whenever we want to modify controls, bones, and things like that, it needs to be done in the construction event. But afterwards, in order to be working in sequencer and so on, we're going to be working with a forward solve. So our rig, what we're used to it. And when I say what we're used to it, like we are going to expect to go to sequencer, bring our character, get the control rig, and then to be able to move it, okay? To be able to animate it and save those keys inside sequencer in order to generate an animation. So we will see that with the forward solve, we will be able to do that. And then when we are in sequencer, something that we'll see afterwards, once it's rigged and once it's animated, we will be able to select the skeletal mesh and say, create, like bake animation from rig or from sequencer. So that animation that we've done frame by frame, we will be able to bake it, okay? But what if I have an animation and I want to get the rig keys, okay? So that's why we have here the backward solve or backward solver. So basically it's the same thing, but the other way around. And we'll see it afterwards, but basically the forward solve gets the controller, we will move a control and we will try to move the bone with the control. So the transform of the control will set up the location, rotation, scale, etc., the properties of the bone. On the other way, when we have animation and we want to get the keys of those animations with the rig, it's the backward solve. So basically, it will be the bones will be moving the controls. So it's the other way around. The forwards is the controls move the bones. Here, it's the bones move the control. And we'll see how to prepare it here, okay? But basically, this is it. And if we want to generate a rig by like programming in a way, it's with this kind of scripting, we will be using the constructions, so the different controls, etc. Okay, so is this concept understood? I really want, like, this is one of the basics.
I think they are a bit lost, but it's, I think, because they are trying to follow you at the same time, and I think that's really difficult today.
Okay, so the concept, it's not understood.
Okay. I think it's not the concept,
so
but
I was trying to explain it a little bit abstract, but let me go with an example. And then when we get that example, probably we'll understand it better, okay? So as I was saying, the standard thing is the forwards, because we're going to use and to put a control here. And that is what it's going to be like an object, a shape, and that shape, we're going to move it. And then our character is going to be moving. So the control moves the bone, okay? And that means forward solve. So let's continue. So we'll see the shape library afterwards. Actually, we have an example here in the one that it's already there. We'll be able to see that we have a few symbols that are not by default, and these are because we have brought a control rig shape library, but we'll see that afterwards. So as I was mentioning, we have the graph that it's all of this here. We have the rig hierarchy, we have the execution stack, and we have the my blueprints where we will be working with variables and functions, okay? So this is a little bit forward solve, has controls and drive bones, construction event, executes at once, ideally used for rig sharing to the same skeletons and setting at variables initial states, and backward solve, that it's have bones, drive controls, baking a skeleton animation back to a control rig, okay? So we've seen this. We go to create, right-click, create control rig. We assign import hierarchy. We put it here, and then we start navigating here. So creating an interactive button. This is interesting, and this is very useful. So we go back to our control rig Doomsday. This is the one we just started. And one of the things that we realize is that although we see all this skeleton here, we don't see it with the character, okay? We have the character, but we cannot see the skeleton anywhere. So what we're going to do is that we're going to click here in this viewport and we're going to go down to bones. So right now we can see that this is the bone drawing section. And if I click all hierarchy, I'll have all of this. But please click in this circle, because if I click here, it will go away. If I go back to bones and I click in the circle, it won't go away. And this is important because right now I'm going to ask you to press the shift button. So when you press the shift button and you click all hierarchy, you'll see that you get this here. And then select it only. And I usually get selected and children, and then none. So although I've gone through this, actually I get these buttons here. And I don't need to be coming back. I don't need to come back all the time because it's quite annoying. So I can go from here, and then it's like, I click it. And for example, if I get the spine, here it's none, selected only. So I get only the selection, selected and children. So if I get this one here, I'll get only the children. Or if I go to the other one, for example, if I go to lower arm here, selected and children. So let's click here. Oops, well, and if I go to all hierarchy, it will be like this, okay? So basically we'll be able to go through here and have the this change of view mode, okay? So let's continue. Oh, set offset transform and from current. So we'll start generating our first controls right now. So as I was saying, right now we only have the hierarchy with our bones. So we only have bones. We only have the skeleton. But we want to create a control. Okay. So there are a couple of options or 3 options on how to use how to create a control. First option, right click, new control. Second option, you see that if you click Control N, that will generate, that's the shortcut or short key to create a bone. We can also, here we have like a little bit the view options, and also, and this is the one that I like the most probably, like, I mean, you'll see that you want switchers and a few things you create it with a Control N or right click and new bone. But sometimes you just want to come here, select the bones that you want, and then you go to new and you go to add controls for selected. Okay, so this is actually, I clicked it here, and if I go down, it just say root control. So it generates the control, and it actually inherits the like the location of this bone. So if I go back here and I go to pelvis, spine 1, 2, and 3, for example, I will right click here. I will go to new and add controls for selected. I just leave it here for a second so you can select it as the same way I did. And then you click it. So we will go down and we will see that we have this hierarchy. Okay. We can select this hierarchy and put it with the root. And this generates a new hierarchy that it will be our control hierarchy. Yes? Many questions here from till here?
Just repeat, please. But
okay, so that's why I mentioned I'm trying to go very slowly.
yeah,
But I know that this class, it's the most important in order to go step by step with me. So that's why I mentioned that I have like a lot of content, and depending on how fast we go, we'll be able to see a little bit more or a little bit less. Okay. But I really want you to understand the basic concepts and these first steps, because if not, like the rest would be like, trust me, I'm an engineer. Well, as I was saying, we need to understand the difference between the bone. These are the bones. Okay, this is our skeleton. And our skeleton, it's all of this. Okay, so this icon is the bone. These kind of icons are controls. And when I was mentioning forward solver, was saying that these controls that I have, so this here is a control with the shape of, let me just come here. We'll come here afterwards, but basically default will be a sphere solid. Okay, so this is our default. So this here is a control. And we are, for the forward solver, we're trying to control our bones with the controls. So we will move the controls and that will move the bones, okay? And here, hierarchies are extremely important because usually when you, not usually, when you move, for example, if I move this root, I will be moving all the hierarchy, all the children, okay? So just for you to understand. This is a bone, this is a control, these are bones, these are controls, okay? And you can see here the hierarchies. If I move this, the children will be moving. If I move the roots, everything will move. If I move the clavicle or the shoulder, all the arm will be moving, but nothing that is apparent from the parent or any other change will move, okay? So I created like options to create a new control, or control N, or just coming to any bone, clicking new, add controls for selected. And with this one, the good thing is that we can get many with the control button. Okay, you push control key and then you have more, and then right click new and add controls for selected. Okay. Yeah?
Yeah, I think.
Perfect. So what we did is that as I created the root first and then the pelvis, they were unconnected. I got the pelvis and I put it inside. So if you want to remove the hierarchy, you click Shift and P, Shift P, okay? And you saw how it got disconnected, but you can always come back and place it here again, because actually we want our pelvis as a children of our root. Okay, so let's create our very first control, okay, an FK. So as I was saying, we have two things, and I'm going to explain it. So we have the FK that it says that it means forwards kinematics. And that means that we're going to have a transform, like when we click here, when we click the control, or we can just come here and click it, we will have, as always, the W. I'm not sure if it's here. Yeah, the Q, you remember, it's just like as it's smaller, but you remember this viewport from the standard one. It's here. It's the same thing. So Q is selection. If I'm here, Q selection, W it's move, E is rotate, and R is scale. Okay. So basically I will be going with this the same way. Okay. And this, I will mention it afterwards, but just for you to know, this is because my value type, it's an Euler transform. This is how it's called. This is like the way of an Euler transform. So basically, I will see the different type of controls. So I have position, I have scale, I have the rotator. So basically are these ones, if I want to move something, but I don't want to rotate it, maybe that can happen. The other way around. I want to rotate some bones you don't want to move them. For example, the clavicle, you can move it, but you cannot move your elbow from your structure. So basically you want only to rotate it. It's true that sometimes you can have twist bones, but for example, there you could say that you want rotators, okay? But Euler transform will have the three of these: position, scale, and rotator. And then we'll see balls, floats. We can also have integers and even vector 2D. For now, we're only going to work the one by default. It's the Euler transform, and that will allow us to move, rotate, and scale. Okay. I know it's a lot of concepts, new concepts probably, but let's try to follow. So for now, one of the things that we see is that I get this root and I move it, it's going to do nothing. Okay, this is doing nothing. So whenever I compile, it gets back to where it was. Okay. So the very first thing that we're going to see in order to build our root is that if we go to the details tab, if I click here, you'll see that this disappears. So as we have on our map, and when we click something and we see the details, if we go to the bone, we'll be able to see the initial and current situation, that it's actually the same. That's going to be the standard thing on the bones. With the controls, it's going to be a little bit different, okay? So we will have all of this. As I mentioned, this is the display name that we had, name, root control, the animation type. For now, just forget about this. We're going to be working with animation control, the value type that I actually just explained, and a few other concepts that I don't want to mention them down because it's going to be more complicated for everybody. So we have the transform, and these elements are important. For one thing, we need to understand the difference between the control and the shape. So basically, the control, we will have a location, a scale, and a rotation, but the shape, it will also be that, okay? So sometimes you could scale the shape and make this bigger, just let's make it like that. But that won't scale our character. If we scale the control, that will scale the character. So it's a little bit complicated. You'll get that afterwards and probably with the practice. But we need to understand that there is a difference between the control, that it's kind of empty, like non-represented in a way, and the shape, that it's our representation. But the point is that sometimes we have a shape that we want to modify its form, and this is where we're going to be doing without modifying the control properties, okay? So I know it can still be a little bit tricky, but let's continue. And then if you have questions, I'll come back to and answer them. But it's important to know that there are these differences, okay? So if we have here our control, right now, as I'm going to restart it, or you can compile if it didn't save. We're going to modify the shape right now, okay? So if you come here, you remember that we mentioned about the control rig shape library. So this is the default library, okay? And we have many things here, although sometimes we want some new, and we will need to import a new control rig shape. But let's keep that away for now. So we're going to come here and we're going to place, for example, let's see, an octagon. Let's put it like that. So we can play here octagon. I usually work with thick, okay? And this is a little bit what I mentioned. Like this is like very small, and definitely it's going to be complicated to click it, okay? So I want to move it, but I don't want to modify the properties afterwards of the character. So what I want to do is to work with the scale of the shape, not the values from the control, only for the shape, okay? So if I come here, I'm going to put, for example, 5, this is too small, 10, this is getting better, 15, this is even better, and I don't know, 20, well, just let's make it big. That's totally fine. So we'll compile just to see that it's getting there, and it's perfect, okay? So for now, we've modified the control, the shape of the control, these properties, okay? Not the control, only the shape, and it's here. So let's start moving it again. And it's like, okay, I see that I have these other controls that I created, and they are moving, but my character is not moving. Why is that? Because I didn't connect it. I created these controls, but I didn't say to Unreal how I want them to be modified, okay? So then I'm going to, if I want to move my bones with a control, that will be the forward solver. So I come here, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get the root bone. I'm going to bring it here. And what do I want to do? I want to move the bone. So moving, you'll see when we come to programming, basically we have a variable or an element. And if we want to modify things, we go to set, or what we call a setter. And if we want to read values, we get a getter. So for the bone, we want to modify its values. We want to modify its location or rotation or scale. So I'm going to say set bone. And here, for those who it's the first time to see a node, we'll have by default this node, everything that runs in Unreal, except for the materials that actually are a little bit different, usually we have from the left to the right. So we have the execution line, okay? So everything that we want to be used and to be executed, we put it here. But we're not going to connect it yet because I want to build it first before connecting it, okay? So it's always going to be from left to right, okay? So as we are going from left to right, these values here, you can see that there are different colors. These colors are depending on the variable types. And what is a variable type? What is a variable? So a variable is everything that has a value in a way. So for example, this is an item. And if I expand it, this little icon here says type and name. So here I'm entering a new concept. You see here that it says rig hierarchy. So all of this is all of this is what we call a rig key, okay? An element rig key. So basically this here, you don't need to do this, but if I promote it to a variable, I'll see that it's a rig element key. So I mentioned it the other way around. It's a rig element key. And we have different types. So we have floats, we have transforms, we have booleans, we have spaces, we have names. All of these are values, is information that can be represented in different ways. So these ways are types. So for example, a text could be a string, and this is one type. It can be a name, and this is one type. A number, if it has decimals, it would be a float, okay? Or a double float, but if it hasn't got decimals and it's only 0, 1, 2, nothing in between, that would be an integer. So I don't want to start with all these concepts, but I want you to understand what they are, okay? So these different elements here are because of the different types. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to delete this one here. And I just wanted you to know why these are here. So the ones that are on the left of the node, these are called inputs. So basically we get an information and we put it in this node. So this is going to do something. And basically we're going to put it here. So we need the value. This is going to read the value. So we need the value. And where do we get the value? The value, we get it from the control. So these values here that are, you will see it here, like rotation, translation, and scale. You see it here, location, rotation, and scale. We're going to be modifying this, and you see how these numbers are moving. So these numbers are moving. And what we want is that these numbers come here, okay? Modify the root value. So for that, we're getting this root, we're dragging it to the graph, and we're reading its values. We are getting the get control, a getter. Okay, so you can read here, item, it's the same thing, but the item, it's the control. So all of these different type of elements are the rig element keys. And for a rig element key, basically it's going to consist on a name and a type, okay? So for now, we're getting a control that it's called root control. So this is when we place it here, basically it's auto-filled, okay? And then we're getting the transform. If you open it, we'll see that it's rotation, translation, and scale. And basically, this is what we get here. So we can get this value all connected because this is a structure, and we're going to place it here. You can see that I can match it, I can join it. But if I try to put it on any of the others, it's telling me types are not compatible because this is a rig element key, this is a name, this is a space, this is a Boolean, this is a rotation, this is a float. This is another Boolean. You see a Boolean basically is yes or no, true, false, okay? So these are transforms. So I put it here. So right now, what I'm saying is I'm getting this control, I'm getting its value of the transform, and I'm going to communicate it, I'm going to read it here, and I'm going to set it to this bone name root, okay? So I compile and I move, and you see it's still not moving. Why? Because I need to connect it with the execution line. And now if I select it, I will be moving this. So I know it's very basics, and there are a lot of concepts. Okay, so questions?
A lot of questions.
Okay.
But main question is that people is a bit lost since the beginning. So
okay, I'm trying to do it as slow as possible.
yeah, but the thing is they are trying to do it at the same time as you, and they get lost, and so I think it's really difficult.
Let's go through the very basics again. I'm not going to start talking about the forwards and backwards. We're going to work with the forward solver because we need our control to move the bone. We have all of our bones here, and we've created controls. Okay, I've mentioned new control, control N, go to here, modify something, it's set. Any questions for now about this concept? No?
They are asking about the hexagon, how you get the hexagon, because they are having the point.
So if I click a control, what I was saying is that I have the control value, but at the same time, controls are done for clicking and modifying. For that, it's kind of a graphic user interface, kind of. So we need the best suitable and the best experience, the best suitable shape in order to interact with it. And that's the shape, okay? So when you click a control, you go and you have the control parameters, but at the same time, you have the shape parameters, the shape values. So if you come here to shape section, and then you go down to shape properties, you'll have a value that it's shape. So in this drop list, you have all of this. So I selected octagon thick. This is how I change this. You'll see now I cannot move it, but if I come here and I move it, these ones are by default. So if I come here, I can get a box. You'll see it. I mean, thin, usually it's very thin. So I usually use thick. And if I click this one here, you'll see that we have a diamond. If it's solid, it will be like that. If it's diamond thick, it will be like this. So you can see how we can change the shapes here, okay? I'm just going to put it back. So this is about shapes. As I was mentioning, if I modify the scale of this, all my rig will just scale. And I don't want that, but I want to scale my shape. So this is why I go to scale on shape and I modify this. And I scale only my shape. Please let me.
Yeah, another question is how you get the set transform for the bone.
Okay, so as we understood that we have the control, the root control, we drag and drop it and we get the get. And this is exactly what I did here. And reading the get, reading the bone transform is getting from here. Yeah. What do we want to move? What do we want the control to interact with? So I have the root control. I want to interact with the root bone because this is what Forward Solver does. We move the control and we want the bone to move with our control. So we go to the bone, we come here, and instead of getting a get, we get a set. And this is what we have here. This is it. You can see in the rig element key, we have bone, root. And actually, we come to this drop list, I'll have all my bones here. And if I move this and I change it to control, I'll have the controls that I created down here. This will be list. So right now, if I put it like this, I will be modifying the root control properties. Okay, and in this case, I will be modifying the bone root properties. So the control root, it's modifying, I'm sending these values to my bone root, and I'm modifying the transform values with a setter. So right now, again, this is not working, and this is not working because it's not being executed. And I have this one here that I'm going to put by default. So I need to connect this one here in order to work with it. So now when I move it, everything is moving. And the other ones are still there because they are inside of my hierarchy. So they inherit the transform. Okay. We can stay, I mean, as much time as you need with this, in like it will be like a red line in a way. But but once you understand this, you will see that the rest is more of the same. Your bones are grayed out.
And you can rewatch the class always, guys. So
okay. So but this is really important because if not, I mean, you will be lost. But after this, I will speed up. Okay. So the point here is that right now we start doing our controls and we have our bones. So what I'm doing here is just like moving my control, and I will be moving my transform. So I will be moving my bone. So right now, what I want to do, and every time you click the compile, it will just go back, okay? It will reset. So what I want to do right now is I want to get the pelvis. Actually, I'll be doing I'll be getting all of this, and I will be modifying, I'll get this circle thick. I won't be seeing anything because they are inside. And I can see that these are rotated. And again, I don't want to rotate its values. I want only to rotate the shape. So I come here and I rotate it. Let's see, 90. So this works fine. But at the same time, I need to scale it. So let's put 3, it's small, 5, still small, 8, 10. Maybe 10 is too much, but let's keep it like that. Maybe it's 8, that would be fine. Probably for my pelvis, I want something different. Maybe I want a 10 here, and to modify it for an hexagon, for example. And if I want to modify this, if I want to modify the color, I will be putting it here. And you see that also the icon is different. Okay. So compile, I get this, I do like this, it moves everything, and then I get this. I move it. Oh, it didn't move. Why? Because I'm not modifying this. I haven't connected my bones with my rig, with my control. So what am I going to do? So I'm going to get my pelvis, again, my spine, again, my spine 2, again, and my spine 3, again. Oops, I have to.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. So I have my controls here, and I want to do just the same. So I'm coming here, I had the pelvis. This case is a set. I want my spine 1. I get the bone, this is a set. I want my spine 2, this is a set. And I don't know if I have any, yeah, spine 3, this is a set. So right now, what I need to do is I need to get the transform, I need to get the transform and put it here, get the transform and put it here, get the transform and put it here, and get the transform and put it here. So I'm connecting the control with the transform of the bone, my control with the bone. And if I want them to be active, I just need to connect them, with the execution line. Okay. So right now, I've compiled, I move this. And then this is what I was saying. If I move this, the pelvis, it's basically this, like, there is only one in the hierarchy, so, and the eye case, so it's going to do kind of the same. But if I move this one here, you'll see that this is going to happen. Why is this going to happen? Because many bones are not designed to be moved. They are only designed to be rotated. So if I do this and I get this control, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to control it here, and I'm going to get this one here and this one here. So if I go to none right now, I can see how steel has like crouched a little bit, like has moved down a little bit. And I've done it with this. So I can actually modify as much as I want from every single bone. Okay. And again, as I was saying, if I compile, everything goes back to be the same. okay? So these kind of controls are called forward, FK, forward kinematics, okay? One of the things, just this is a little tip. If you right click here, you can say straighten connection. So you can straighten all the pins. Okay, this is a little tip in case you want it. I have a little, we say in Spanish, stock. It's like, sometimes I'm a little bit obsessive about having everything neat here and under control. So yeah, so basically we have this. So right now, what we're going to do.
There is a good question, David.
Yeah.
Does the order of the controls matter for the execution?
Yes, but not in this case, probably. So by default, what it really it's important is the hierarchy that you have here. Okay.
Yeah.
This is critical because this actually, as you saw, I can move here I can move this and I can move this and everything gets moved. But if I just go here and I rotate it, only the ones that are here are going to be rotating, not the other one. You can see that if I rotate this one here, my pelvis is not going to rotate. But if I move this, everything is going to rotate, okay? So this hierarchy is important, although this is also important. So sometimes you can, so for example, you just need to understand what it's doing here. So this is getting this transformed. So if I move this, it's going to move this, but at the same time, it will move everything that it's a children, like propagate to children. So this is important, okay? So, and yeah, like first it does this, then it does this, and then it does this, okay? So this order is also important. Okay, so one of the things that I want you to know also is that we can, when we create, and this is just for you to know, when we create, let's see where I can put it. I'm just going to put it here so that you can see it. When we create a bone, so I select this one here, and you see that it shield main, and I put it at controls for selected, it directly comes here, okay? So if you go to offset, it will have the location, rotation, and scale of this bone. But what happens if I just create a new one? Oh, not new bone, sorry. New control. So I have this one and it immediately goes to the 0. Okay. So I can move it and I can put it there. But the point is that if you can see here that it's current. Initial, it's our 0. This is where it started. Our current is the movement that we are creating. And the offset, it's the final position. So when we click here, you see what happens. It just goes back again. Why? Because as we're working with the rig, there is always going to be an initial state that is like where it started. It's going to be an offset that it's where we want to set it up. So the control that all the setups that we want, and then this is the current. So every single time that we have things in current and we compile, this gets back to default. This gets back to initial, okay? To offset. This gets back to the very beginning. So if I now click again, it will come back. So I need to put my values into the offset part, okay? And how can I do that? So while I have this one selected, I select this one here, and I come down and I say set offset transform from current. Okay. So if I set offset transform from current, let's see what happens here. Boom, 0. Where did it go? It went to offset. So right now, when I compile, I have it in offset. Really important. But I say, wow, I wanted to put it here. And how should I do it? I have to go little by little, try to go here, and then I can go here. I mean, a little bit, yes, but it really has another way. So I need to get near the bone. And when I right click, I can go and say, set offset transform from closest bone. And then I get these properties from this bone. It matches exactly the bone. And then those properties go to the offset. Okay. And then you'll see that I compile and then I get this. So right now, if I go to control, I'll get my control, and then I'll get this bone that it was shield. And I set the bone and I put it here. And I go to the transform. Now I will be able to move my shield. Yeah. So this is important for you to understand that we have like a temporal state always when we are working with a control rig, and that temporal state is current. Every time we hit compile, we go to the offset. But again, our initial state was 0 because it was created from on the origin. So we set the offset just to put it at in the same place as the bone, and then we set it to the bone, and then we can move it. Our offset is not going to modify, as you can see, but our current, yes. And then we hit compile and it goes back to 0 and we have the offset. So this is, I did this emphasis because it's actually very important, okay? So let's move forward. We understand how to do FKs, and it's pretty simple, actually. It's just like the most complicated thing, it was not to create the FKs. It was to understand a little bit what we were doing. So I don't need this one, actually. So whenever I delete it, you will see that this is an error. And if I click here, you'll see, I mean, it just says okay, but it's not. So this is 0, and that's what my shield goes to the origin. But yeah. So let's go back. So now we're going to be working with something that that is an IK. So we will see the full IK, full body IK afterwards with the retargeting. But now we're going to see the basic IK. So we're going to come here. And if you put basic, you'll see that you have something that is called basic IK. So when we come here, we can see that we have the execution line, and then something that it says item A, that it's a bone, item B, that it's a bone, and effector item, that is this one here, okay? Then we have an effector transform, and then we have a pole vector. So these are the ones that are going to, and the axis, these are the ones that we're going to work with. So first, the very first, we need to understand why do we need an IK? So the IK basically is to move a chain of bones with a goal, okay, with an effector. The effector that we see here many times is going to be called goal, okay? So we want a goal directly with our hand. So let's do, let's get this hand here. We're getting the left hand. So right now, we're going to get this hand and we're going to create a add control from for selected. So we go down and we'll see this hand control. So just for you to know, all of this that I'm doing, I'm just trying to go back and create. So I'll do a few steps just to get all of this, okay? So this is like where I'm trying to go, okay? So basically you'll see that I have all my FKs here. I have a few elements for the face, and then this is IKs. Now I'm going to do this one here. Yes, you don't need to do what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to show you. So here I'm moving from IK to FK. So you see how this changes. This is because of a switch. Okay. So if I click, this is the one that I'm trying, and it's going to be like hand L. So right now you see that they don't need to be connected with the FK. And I'm going to put it here just to get rid of it. So right now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to put, just click Shift P, just in case it just went away, okay? And you can put here hand L control. On the case that they are a case, I actually recommend you sometimes to be using another kind of name if you want. You can put hand L control. You usually will be able to see what are FKs and IKs because of the shape. But on any case, you can also control this. We could come here and say, and modify this and say IK if you want it, okay? Just to understand that this is an IK. So you see here that I have my control inside. So I'm going to start and come here and going to put like 3, let's see. But most importantly, I want to modify this one and I want to put box thick. So usually IKs are controlled by these kind of boxes or other elements that are a little bit different. Poles and IKs are more like figures, and FKs usually are represented more like with circles, like a planar thing, okay? So here, as you can see, I can be modifying a little bit the scale. I don't see why, is it changing? Not this axis. I want to do it, not this one neither, this one here. So I can make it like this. I could, for example, put this one like 1.5 and make it a little bit bigger, okay? So this is just in case I want to click it as easy as possible, okay? So right now I generated this hand L control. And this is what I want to move. Again, you know that if I don't connect it to the execution line, it's not going to do anything. So one of the things that I'm going to do is that I'm going to get this get control. And I want this to be my effector. So one of the things that you can see is that when I click something and I move it, you see that these are grayed out. So I can put it here. So this will mean that my effector will be moved by this, but I'm missing 3 bones. Okay, I'm missing these 3 bones that I need for the basic IK. So my effector item will be my hand. So I click here and then I go to this link, to this little icon, and I'll say that my effector item will be the hand. Okay, so the next one is the one that it's before, so it will be my lower arm, and I put it as item B, and then I go as item I, and I put my upper arm. Okay, you can also browse them and search for them here. So I will be working with my upper arm, my lower arm, and my hand, and this will be the IK that I need. For now, it has been easy, but this is where it gets a little bit complicated. because right now I understand that I'm going to be moving this and this chain is going to be moving. Okay. But as I already mentioned before, we have the pole that it will be the elbow. And also we have a couple of things that we need to modify that are the axis, the primary axis and the secondary axis. Okay. So let's go and keep working. So right now, one of the things that I'm going to do is that I'm going to generate a new control that is going to be my pole, okay? This is going to be the pole that I'll be working. So new control, I have it here, and I'm going to put it behind the elbow. Let's see if I can find it. Sometimes it just helps to put like to go to front or to left, and you can put yourself there, and it's like, okay, I'll put it here, and then you can just go back to perspective. Okay. So my pole is going to be here. Okay, I will just click here. You remember that we need to set offset transform from current. Okay, so what I need here basically is to let the effector know and to create like this kind of relationship between the effector and the primary and secondary axis for the pole vector. So for now, I have this pole vector that it's going to be my new control. So I'm going to call it. You can right click here and say rename, or you can just like click F2. Okay. So I'm going to put elbow or pole or left arm pole. Okay. And this one here, I want to get this. But you will see that this variable here from the pole, it's not a transform, it's a location. So I will need the translation that actually it's basically location, and I will put it here. Okay. So I'll just put it here a little bit so that you can see it. I have the basic IK. I've set up the like item I, A, B, and effector item. My effector item will be this control. And then I need a pole that will be my pole vector. Okay. Big questions from now or not yet?
Not the big one.
Not big ones?
No.
Perfect.
Trying to follow.
Okay. So right now, one of the things that I'll need is to check my axis. And this is sometimes a little bit tricky. Okay. So this, and please be careful because we have this, but it also comes from the like we have this guy here. Sometimes if it's a little bit easier, you can do it with the right one. But we're going to see this axis right now. If you can just come here, it's really, really complicated to see the axis there. So there is a little tip here that we can see display axis on selection, and we will click it. So this is actually, if you can like get a screenshot, or someone, if you can get a screenshot and put it there, because it's going to help a lot, everybody. Yep. So this makes that this axis is way bigger. Okay. So if I go, you see here, lower arm R, I'm going to click the lower arm L. So we can see this axis, and we need to realize that, I mean, sometimes it's complicated to see, don't worry, but we need to see that we have these this y vector, y axis, sorry, the x axis and the z axis. Okay, so these are the ones. So right now, we would need to see that the x-axis is going on the direction of the bone. So this would be our primary axis. So x is going on the direction. If we had let's see it here. If we had it like this, and this is the opposite, we will put here in the primary axis -1. So check red, the red one is the x. If it goes on the direction of the bone, it's positive. And if it goes on the direction against on the other direction, it's negative. Okay. So I know this is going to be like, I mean, well, I'm going to say something that I shouldn't. That is like what? Like, yeah, it's going to be a little bit tricky. But basically, we need to realize that first axis, that it's this one here, the one on the direction of the bone, and the second axis is on the direction of the pole. Okay. So if it goes in the direction of the bone, it's a positive. If it goes on the other direction, it's negative. If it goes on the direction of the pole, it's the second axis is positive. And if it goes on the other direction, it's negative. So on this case, we click this one here, and we see that our pole is going on, our axis going on the opposite direction to the pole. That's our second axis. So we should put this a minus. Okay. And it's y because it's the green one. So right now we have our x that we see that it goes on the direction of the bone. So it's positive x, and this one is that it's negative y, sorry. So unless I'm missing something that I think that I'm not missing, I should connect this and it shouldn't break. And it didn't. So what I can do right now is that I can move this. Oops, sorry. I can move this. I can also rotate it for the hand. Okay. And I can modify the elbow and the direction with my pole. And actually, I would like to modify the shape with this, that I can put a diamond so that I understand that it's helping. Let's see the diamond thick. And maybe I'll do it a little bit bigger. Maybe that's too much, but I mean, doesn't matter. So I'm going to, you can see here how I'm twisting the arm, how I can move this and transform it like that. So this is an IK that I have a goal and I'm moving this and I control it with my pole. Yes?
So they are asking about the pole. Do we always need a pole?
If you want to control it, yes. Actually, let me.
And there is a bit of confusion again with the.
If you move it like this, you will be able to move it.
Yeah.
But you will have no control at all from this. So once you add the pole, then you will have the control.
Right.
So get your conclusions. Okay. So we have 20 minutes left from this, but I mean, one of the things that we can do, we can go to the right one, is sometimes you can just like come here and say, search and replace a mirror. We're going to do the right arm right now. So we can do it with this. And then we come here and we say, switch the mirror axis to, I mean, this is the X, it's our mirror axis, axis to flip Z, and then search for I think it was like that. Just let me check 1 second. I know we have it somewhere. I mean, we've been doing this. Okay. So X and Z, yeah, exactly. And then here I will replace these L's, L, and I will place this for R. Okay. You have it on deck. Don't worry. And I'll do that. Oh, and sorry, I just replaced this one. So I need to copy paste it first. Okay. Sorry for that. I need to copy paste it and I need to do that. And basically I'll be doing replace left or right. Okay. So it's telling me, I mean, this was skipped because there is no K. There is no and there is no R. So I didn't create it. So this is a little bit. So we can create them before, and then like we can create the controls and then replace and mirror, or we can just like do it another another time. And this is a little bit what I'm going to do. Okay. So I'm going to repeat everything. I'm going to come here to right hand, and just let me put this a little bit bigger. I'm going to bring here and add controls first selected. So it will be here, control. Actually, I'm going to like give you a tip. I like this one here, okay? I want it to be the same. So what I can do is that I can copy, not here, there are a few categories here that can be copied. So I'm going to get share properties, I'm going to copy them, and I'm going to go to the right control and I'm going to paste them. So now I have this. You see? I could copy paste the properties from the right to the left, or the other way around, from the left to the right. So I have my control, my goal, and then I'm going to call this one, I'm going to put IK. Okay. And now I'm going to create the new one that actually I can come here and do the same thing. New control for selected. And it should be lower on there. I'm going to call it right arm pull. And I'll just put it back. I will set offset transparent to current just to keep it there. And then I will copy the properties from here. And then I'll paste them here, sorry. So there we go. You can see here that, for example, as I created this from this, I created this control from the bone. My transforms are not, I mean, this is rotated and it's getting the rotation from this. So I could come here, remove this one, and then just copy that, and that will be it. So I could get the location, and now I'm resetting. I'm resetting the transform. Okay. So I have my pole, I have my goal, and then I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So I'm going to get here. The only thing that I'm going to get the upper arm, it would be the right. I'll get the lower arm, that will be here. I'll get the hand, that it will be here. And now I want to get the effector. That will be my control IK. I'll put it here. And then I'll get my pole, and I want to get the location. Translation, ghost pole vector. And now look what happens, unless it's just okay by default, but most probably you see what happens here. It's just like it's totally broken. And this is because I didn't set right my axis. So what I want to click here, and I see, so let's see, let's do a little quiz here. Like this is the primary axis. What should I put here to the X? What number?
-1, -1, -1.
Awesome. And this one here on the Y on the secondary axis,
1.
perfect. It's a smart group. Must say it. So right now it's there and it's working perfectly. Okay. So I have this, I can move with the pole and I can move. Something that it's sometimes for the eye case, I used to work sometimes like this. You can have the local relative transform, and this one goes actually with the direction of the control. And as we generated that one from the bone, it's inheriting the position and direction and rotation from the bone. But if we go to world relative transform, that you can open it here, it goes to the world axis. So sometimes it's quite interesting just to modify these. Usually I like to work with transforms. Sorry, with location. I like to work with world, and for rotation, many times I prefer local. Okay, so just for example, because it actually goes in the direction of this, and if not, it just like generates a rotation. It can be a little bit complicated, but yeah, okay, yeah, more or less. Okay. So basically we have this and we can see how it is working perfectly. Okay.
So there are two main questions. One is about the mirror that you did. They are asking how you did it.
The
You
mirror.
tried to do it.
So the mirror, basically you get one of these. Okay. And you come and say search replace mirror. So as you will be able to see here, RRR, if we come here and like look for R and switch for L, it will modify this and will be looking for a bone that it's called like that. Okay. So basically it's doing that and switching the axis. But yeah, I mean, it helps. Sometimes it's not like perfect and you still need to modify a few things. But yes, so aim. We're going to see the aims, and you can see that more or less everything is a little bit similar right now. But it's just like new functions. So just whenever you start like generating more things, it's just like knowing more nodes. Okay, but for now, like the basic concept, it's already learned. So there are like two things. Like one is the FK, that it's just like modifying this like directly the bone, and it's per bone thing. Okay, and it's children, but you can see how it propagates to children, and then it's this. Okay, this is the IK. As I was mentioning, I prefer to be working with world here. So many times I just put it here and put it there, and then you'll see, I mean, this is a little bit, we can put it here, there. I was trying to do like, but this guys is like complicated. I was trying to make like something like this, like putting his hand on top. But sometimes it's a little bit complicated. So this is like what I was saying, that sometimes the rotation with the world works. Sometimes it doesn't work so much. And sometimes you just need to move, because you can actually, but you'll see it, you can actually move this. Let's move this part. I'll need the pole a little bit there. I also need the pole here. So just worry about this and just check it correctly. Okay, so I'm going to put it like that. I'm going to just put it a little bit here, a little bit there. And he's checking his horns there. Like, are they there? Yeah. So basically you see how you can start moving all of this directly from here. And if I want to modify the pole, so I do like that, and so on. Okay, so it's sometimes it's just like you're on the right way, but you're getting there not like as easy as you thought. And it could be because, I mean, because of the pole. So right now, I would like, for example, I would like to put this like this, just like I'm trying to close my, like to hide my eyes, and just like control the poles, because this is like the location of the poles is going to make it very, very realistic, or the other way around. Okay.
Is there any way, David, to set a minimum and maximum rotation, for instance?
Yeah. So all of that can be done here. And it's not a secret, but it kind of is a secret, because by default, you get it like that. Okay. So, but you can actually come here and have a min and max. Okay. You need to activate it. So if you want to set max and min rotations, it's just like setting that there. So for example, for this, we could set up a max rotation here, so that if we do like this, it doesn't break and it doesn't go that way, or that doesn't go the other. So you will be able to just say rotation. So right now, if I come here to current, I'm changing mostly the Z. So I should be able to put like maxed rotation, sorry, like 25, and the minimum. So this would be changed. Okay. So let's continue, because if not, that we can go through that on the Q&A. Okay. So let's go to aims. And for the aim, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get the head. So let's put it here. I get this one there, and I add controls for head. We'll know how to do this. So I'm going to copy these characteristics. Copy, I'll put it here too. So shape, paste. And I'm going to move it. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to reset that, and then set offset transform from current. Okay, so I have my aim that it's, oops, it's not perfect there. Just let me check. Should be, maybe I modified something. It should be more or less in the middle. Anyway, we will see that it will just like modify, and we'll start a little bit with the head turned. But anyway, now it's centered. So what I want to do right now, and this is like very like, you can see it easily, because when you search for aim, it's there. It's kind of the same, but a little bit easier. So we have the axis and target, okay? And we also have the what we need to do, okay? So if we come here, basically what we will need to say is that I want the bone to be like the head bone. I can look for it again. Well, I can look for it here. And I want to get this bone. And this is the one that I want to modify. So my target will be this. So this is like the target will be a little bit like the pole. So get control. And it can, I mean, we can put it here like aim if we want, just for us to know it. And again, if I want to get the target, I need to get the translation to target. And what is going to happen if I do this? You see, broken, totally broken. So I need to do the same thing as the axis. Okay, and I have to put it here. And there is secondary that I would need to check. But basically, if I go to all hierarchy and I click the head, This is the neck, the head. Let's see if I can find it. I should be able to see it there. So my primary should be minus. Let's see if it works. And my secondary should be 1. But not set. Should be, yeah, set goes to the other way. Should be 1 here and 0 there. Let's see. Nice when I always cross fingers and it's like, let's see if I did it wrong. Okay, no, I didn't. So let's check 1 second. So let me take this away. So this is the head. I'm getting the transform correctly. I'm getting that. And this should be the primary that actually goes the other way around. And the second axis, that is the Y, is getting here. So it should be the, but let me check 1 second. I'm going to put it location. Oh, let me put it here. Sometimes instead of this, you need to modify this. Just let me check it to direction. Just 1 second. Let's put it like that. Let's put it direction and direction. Oops, no.
They're saying here
Um,
secondary is minus X, could be.
Just let me check it here. This is always a little bit tricky. The secondary is minus X. Let me, isn't this, I'm getting the head, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the secondary minus X. I mean, the only thing that can happen is that it's the other way around. So just let me, but usually it's kind of, so if I get this, that would be Y and 1. And this could be minus 1. Just let me check. And I'm connected here. Yeah, exactly. So I was inverting the axis. Sorry for that. And then I have it here. So I was getting confused because of the axis of the, like the first and the second axis. So basically it's the same that it was before, although the first axis in this case is not the one that comes from here. It's actually the pole. So the Y is going directly to here. And then the secondary axis, as we can see here, is basically the other one. Okay. So this is it. And it's looking at it. And that's it. Okay, I'll put it here. Oh, we can check it. So I will repeat it just for you to know. The point here, what I was where I was mistaken and what I did wrong is that by default in the IK, the first axis is the one that it's the bone. It goes to the goal, and in this one, as it's kind of the same. So basically the goal is this one here. But as many times as myself, I sometimes think, or I see create the resemblance between the pole and the aim. I was understanding that one as the second one, but basically the goal, that is this one here, is the primary. So in this situation, when we come here, the Y, you can see it there. The Y is the primary axis, and actually as it's going directly to the aim, it's 1. And the secondary, it's not exactly the pole because there is no pole here, but the secondary will be the bone direction. So this comes from here and it's minus X. Okay. So this is it. So you should have, if you're using the same model, primary axis, that would be the y in +1. And then you should have the secondary axis as -1 and x. Okay. So this is it. So we could actually do any of this for fingers if we wanted to modify, but remember, this is only for one bone. So it's just like, I don't know, if you have like a small tail, or you have, imagine that there was a bone here. Okay, so we could also modify this with that bone. So let's save everything. Let's go back to the MetaHuman. And now what and that's it. So we're going to, we can do a small break. It's 11, and we can check that. And we can just like, what the only thing that we're missing right now is just to bring this rig into a sequencer and to double check the MetaHuman. So that would take us like about 20-30 minutes. And after that, as I was mentioning, where did I have it? Here, it comes here. We have this other Doomsday that is an example, but this is way more with variables, with arrays of bones and arrays of controls, with functions. We have a jaw modification, and we can answer all the questions from the class before. And if we have extra time, we will come first to the retargeting, that I think it's important for you. And then we can go and understand a little bit the Boolean, how to do like a little bit more complex nodes, and also how to use functions, etc. Okay, so this is more like an advance, but we have it here just in order that for you to know it and to have it here. This is like a medium level compared with a MetaHuman or the Tautosian or Tautitian, or however it's called. And this would be like the very starting point. Okay, so we've seen FKs, we've seen IKs, we've seen aims, and right now, as we had here, we have the IKs that we saw, we have the poles, we have the aims, and we have the FKs. Okay, so we can make this guy move and say hi to someone. This is a little bit, for example, for me, would be really interesting just to do like this kind of rotation. And with the world one, it's complicated, but if you go to the location, to the local one, it's really simple. So just remember to switch between both of them, because it's really useful. Okay, so yeah, and we'll see how to key it afterwards. Okay, so let's do a break. Get your questions down, because we'll go through that afterwards. Okay. No worry, today we can have 4 more hours. Yeah. Well, for me, it was really important. You can see that the first hour we saw like, you refresh yourself a little bit. Heads and brains stopped smoking a little bit, like you could refresh a little bit. So let's come here and continue. So we had, I'm going to put it here because if not, I'll start confusing myself. I will take this away and here. So as we mentioned, we've seen FKs, IKs, poles, that it's part of the IK, and aims. Okay, so what we're going to do now is that we're going to create a sequence where where we can start keying all of this. Okay. So one of the things that it's important to know is that many times when you come to, I'm looking for it, not mannequins, when you come to your static mesh, you have your, not the animation blueprint, the skeletal mesh. So here on the skeletal mesh, by default, if we open, I just opened the steel, okay, you can look for it like filtering and so on, but it's under Paragon steel, characters, heroes, steel, and meshes. And you get this one that is skeletal mesh. You can also come here and activate the filter skeletal mesh. So if you just come to content, you will get all the skeletal meshes that are there. So if we go to, for example, to Manny, and we open it, we're going to see that there is one thing that it says here, that it's animation rig. Okay. So by default, the skeletal meshes, when you set up a control rig, you usually want to put it here by default animation rig. Okay, so we come here and we're going to look for CR Doomsday. We have the other one that it's called Doomsday Control Rig, still Doomsday Control Rig. So we could get that one also. Where is it? This one here. But actually the one that we did is this one. So it could make more sense to use that one. Okay. So, and same thing here. So this is the one actually, and we're going to be using this one, CR Doomsday. Okay, actually I'm missing an S. Let me correct that. It's not critical. But I always want to put everything okay. Every time you modify, mostly if you move things, but once in a while, it's good to fix some redirectors. Sometimes some things could be out of reference. But yeah, we have the animation rig here. So that's good. And that actually is quite helpful when we come and we generate a sequence. So let's come here in class, and I'm going to, not, maybe I don't need a folder, but I'm going to come and I'm going to generate a level sequence. You all know how to do that, so I won't explain it too much. And I'm going to put it here, control level sequence, control rig Doomsday, because I'm going to do one with Doomsday and the other one with MetaHuman. Okay. So we're opening sequencer, and you all know that we can bring it to the level and then bring it to sequencer, or we can directly come to characters, where was it? Paragon steel, characters, heroes, steel, and not skins, meshes. It was meshes, or where was it? No. Skins, Doomsday, meshes, and here. Okay, so this is one of the ones I did. So you have all the route here, all the path. So I'm going to place it there. And you see, we can already see all the rig that we did. And we see the animation outliner. So we can see all the rigs. And we can see all the rigs here. So this is our rig and all the controls, sorry, with location and all this kind of things. Okay. So basically, again, I generated this level sequence. I looked for my skeletal mesh where I added the default control ray, and then I added it here, and it's right now as here as a spawnable. So for now, it's quite easy. So right now, what I usually do, but this is just like depending on the moment, is that you remember that it was like key changed. Okay, do you remember this? So sometimes if you just want to do things quickly, I mean, you really need to know what you want to do. Okay, so for example, if you're moving only the arm, or there are a few things that are not going to be moving, you can just like come here and set a few. So, but sometimes it's if you just want to activate this, I activate everything. I put the 0, okay, on the very beginning. And then what I know is that if I come here and I come and do like a hi thing, like a say hi, okay. So let's put it by default. I was going to just click compile, but now this is stuck there. So I'm going to just put it back. So I'm going to start from this position, okay? And then I'm going to start, for example, 10 frames. So 1 second would be 30. So I don't know, like frame 60, I can put it here. So I will be modifying this one. And you see, oh, I didn't activate it, sorry. So if I click this one, do you remember that we mentioned this? And it's going to change those things that modified. So if I do this, immediately I'm going to get this thing modified, okay? And it's going to interpolate. Remember all this, it's going to interpolate, and it's going to create an automatic interpolation. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate, but remember that we can change this. So we can modify here. And we can do this. So while I'm doing this kind of changes and I'm here in this frame 60, this is going to be updating my keys all the time. So if I come here and I hit play, I'm going to have this. And it's like, oh, it's not like it's slow. So no problem at all. I can just move this. And then I go here and it's like, okay, maybe it's even slow. So I can go to 15 and go back, and it's like, okay. So I can move my keys in order to make it faster or slower. And right now, what I want to do is that I'm there. And what I want to do is do this kind of movement. So I know that here, so for sometimes, and we will see that in the MetaHuman, sometimes moving this hand is just like getting this part of the upper arm kind of stuck, like kind of still, and then moving the arm and the hand a little bit. Sometimes you even move more the lower arm than the hand. But as it's an IK, it's going to be moving everything. And sometimes you can be switching from FK to IK, and that's totally fine. In this case, we only have an IK, okay? So I just saw this one. That's fine.
People, they are not seeing these controls in the sequencer.
Did all of you add it?
Yeah.
Did you save it?
So
it's important to save.
Save and put the animation rig there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So try to like come here, set the default animation rig, set it there, save everything, open the sequence, and then bring it back. Okay. So that would be the best. Also, Most probably you could bring. I'll do the. I always do it like that, but I'll check. Maybe you can just like drag and drop the rig directly here, but we can test that afterwards. Okay. So yeah. Just let me check 1 second. This is directly the. So this is baked to control rig. This would be generating like this is we can see this afterwards. But try to do it like that. Like these control rig things, we will talk about them later, okay? If we have time. So, but basically try to do this. It's just quite simple. It's like putting the animation, like the control rig here in animation rig, default animation rig, and then it's just like opening and drag and drop the skeletal mesh. That's it. It's not a big deal. Okay. So yeah, when we come here, we have a few other things, but constraints. Yeah, no, it would be like that. So when we're working with this, one of the things I don't want to do a lot of keys here. It's just like trying to do it like this. So for example, here I can go to 20. You can go directly here, and I can move a little bit this. No. And then I can go to 30, and then I can move this here. Oh. Okay, so let's see how it goes. Okay, and then, for example, one of the things, if I wanted to do this, you know that if I go here, I would be able to get the hand control. Okay, and just I know that this is going to be generating the loop. So I would be able to say, okay, this uncycle. Okay, oops, it's getting everything. Maybe I did something wrong. No. This is an offset, but I don't know why it's getting these other ones. Cycle, it's getting this. I'm probably it's getting a value there, but I'll show you some other way also. You can just start like coming here, and this is because sometimes you will say, okay, I want to do it not indefinitely, like, but I want to do it like 4 or 5 times. So we can get here. I know that I have from here to here, it's 10. So probably I would like to do another 10. So here I have 30. I would go to 40. I'll place this one. So I need to copy and then place it. And then I can go 40. That would be 60. I will copy it. And then I should, let's see how it goes. I should have this. And I will have these keys. So I will always be able to key this and copy paste and key the things. Okay. So I usually do this kind of example quite easy, that is quite easy to follow. And for example, if we're here, we can end up, and if we are on the 70, we can just go to 80 and maybe go to the first point. So I go to 80, I go there, and then back. Okay. So this will actually create a loop. So this will actually, if I put it there, if I click this and here in this frame, it will just come back here and I loop it. It will do like this. And for example, as the beginning, probably I need like a couple, like a few seconds there. Maybe I need, this is 75. Maybe I need like 85. And I would keep this, I would copy this. So this is 80. So I would go to 90 and I would copy this one. I would go here. So I give a little space for breathing, you know, the animation on the loop. And now I can like start again. So it comes down and goes there and so on. So if I wanted to modify the speed of the things, I could go of the changes, I could go to the curve, modify the tangents, and then start working with these blendings. Okay. So any big questions?
No, is there so?
Okay. So yeah, so you can see that it's quite easy here. We can keep, I mean, I just did a name, but for example, we can come here, we're here. I usually recommend to click, to start like clicking like selected frames and then modifying some others. But that depends on the animation you want to do, because if it doesn't match, you need to create, like, you need to start keying on another frame. But for example, if I come here, this guy's, for example, is waving in his hand. So for example, I can start, I would say the head will move before. So the head moves before and says hi. Then I could just like come back here and move a little bit this spine. Okay. And then I could get this one here. Maybe I just moved it very little. Oh, it's the spine here is this. Maybe I moved it very little, a little bit more. And then I could get this value and just put it back again here. So it starts here, says hi, and go back. So one of the things that happens is that you see that this is not changing. And this is not changing after modifying this because of the hierarchy. So that depends on where do you want to put your controls. So if this control was inside this hierarchy, this would have been moving, okay? So that's for you to know. But you can just keep, this is the head, it's saying hi, I get this, and then I can go to this here and copy it again. So this, like that, you keep like improving your animation. And for example, we can start. So we say hi and we move, and probably this is like a little bit slow, and we want to move it here, like the spine, and then we can start doing this, okay? Probably, I mean, in my case, I would prefer to be a constant so that it's not all the time interpolating. And yeah, so it gets stuck there and so on. So same thing for the head, I would prefer a constant. And so he stays with his hand there and then he goes back. So yeah, a little bit like that. And that's it. So if you do a constant here, you can see that right now we would need probably like this here, not as a constant, as a cubic, and same thing here. And this is because this is more like animation, not only like Unreal Engine. So this is because the constants, when we move them, they are going to be just like going from A to B, and with like directly, they're not going to be interpolating. So right now we have, as we will see, spine and head will come here. Okay, I'll start from scratch. So all of them will be interpolated until these two that are constant will just get stuck. I get the same value as these ones in order to interpolate to this one other. To this other one, okay? So you see they stuck and then it goes back, okay? And this is because If it was just like this and I didn't do this interpolation, basically this number would stop and go directly to this one. And like that, I just made this interpolation there, okay? So you can see that you can do many things with this. We didn't do any IK for the legs, so we won't be able to move the legs yet. But right now we can move the hand, we can move the arms, the spine, and all of this. So it's quite easy, and we just made it in a couple of hours while we started. So let's go to the MetaHuman and let's understand a little bit more the MetaHumans. So let's come here and go to animation, cinematics, sorry, and level sequence. Sometimes between versions they modify the location of the things. So this would be MetaHuman, control rig, MetaHuman. Okay. So we're opening this. Let's go and get Seneca, and we can bring Seneca here. It's loading. Hello. There you go. Remember, we can always get the MetaHuman in order to avoid the cards issue. Let me check this details. You know that we have the LOD and the force, so we can come here and force it. Oops, force to 0. Okay. And so we have our MetaHuman here. So we will be able to see that the MetaHuman has so many controls, okay? And one of the things I really like about the MetaHuman, it's not only that it has forwards and backwards. Oh, thank you. It's not only that it has forwards and backwards, is that it also have a little widget that we can find here. Let's see if we can find it. That would be under MetaHuman, common, and then it has utilities, and you have the MetaHuman control rig picker. And this, don't double click it, because then you will enter how, like, you will be able to edit it, but we don't want to edit, we want to use it. So in order to use it, we do right click and we click it here. We select run edit or utility widget. And we have this. Nice, isn't it? So now we can go there, we can refresh. So we can select the body, for example. And let's see if everything is set up correctly. You will see that right now, do you remember when for this kind of elements are for FK or IK? Do you remember that I mentioned that usually we use one for FK, another for IK? FK. Perfect. That's it. These ones are used more for FKs. So you can see here, and it says IK FK. Okay. It's a little bit small. There you go. So IKFK. So you can switch between them. Okay. So you can see now when I click it, I can go there. But actually the orange ones are the IKs. So you can see the poles, you can see the goals. Okay. And if I go back, the blue ones are the FKs. Can I do that for the fingers? Well, that Doomsday is a little bit stretched. It's more like the Elastic Man. That's what I mentioned, that there are a few bones that are not meant to be moved. You can move them, but it will make it like stretchy, you know? So there are some bones that are meant to be moved, only rotated, okay? So we can see here that if I click the root, I'll go to the root, I'll go to the offset, and I'll go to the global. Okay, so these are like controllers. But if I go to these, you'll see that I can start getting every single FK. So here, in addition to having the forward schematic, we will have the backward schematic, and at the same time, we have this widget. So it's amazing. And here you can see that I have this left one. So I can click here and I will be selecting. Can you see it there? A little bit like that. Can you see maybe in the index? So here I'm getting the metacarpal. Here the next phase of the finger, and this one and this one. So here would be the thumb, and this one gets the whole thing. Okay. This one gets the whole thing. And you can decide if you want to work with IKs, with FKs, or with what, okay? And it will be the same. And this is the body control. So here with the MetaHuman, we have the root, the offset, the global, and then the body, like the pelvis in a way. So this moves, and it's like the very first part of the whole hierarchy. And if you want to go to the toes, I mean, you're welcome to keep them. If you have Zeus, it kind of makes no sense. But I mean, just for you to know that you can make him like climb a tree with with the toes or with the fingers. Okay, so this is all provided and it's already generated. So yeah, so this is like the hand, this is like right hand, this is the whole hand. So this is IKs. So you see that the IK, it's already there, but you go from one to the other. So this is FK. So let's see. So let's see if we can find, if we have here, we should be able to see the controls. So if we come here, this is a little bit what I was mentioning. Many times, in order to find something, it's better to go to the filter and then animation, and we go to control rig. Rig. Is this the IK rig? Just let me double check. Control rig. Yeah, that was the other one. This is the control rig. So we can find them here. So you have the MetaHuman control rig and all of this. So it's only the neck, the MetaHuman. So in order to know which one's it, I mean, we could just like see the name here, MetaHuman control rig. Okay, so we know we're using this one, and we have the face control board. This one's pretty cool. So this one's great because you can have this, and you have, I mean, it's not that it's a IK, FK, actually it is, but the point is that you have many options. So lips blow, mouth sticky, this one, I mean, you can go and please try to check them out. These are all floats, and you can start modifying all of this with it. So you can modify one eye. Well, it's really not the best. You want to use both. It's with this one here. How about that? So this is why the MetaHuman is it's really nice. Also ears, I mean, we can see them. So, but yeah, like tweakers if you need them, and so on. Okay, so you have so many things like that you can modify. I mean, he's smelling something. Something's not smelling right. Okay, so yeah, it's like you have exactly, you can have this. So one of the things I usually like to do is like again, usually what I do is like I key everything. So I have the face. I usually like key everything at the very beginning, and it's like, so then when I move something, it just like starts. Okay, if I want to start like with a position, I just do it on frame 0. If I want to do right now, for example, like let's do like a matrix bullet shot. For example, we could do this. So now we have an AK here. Actually, I prefer to be using sorry, IKs. So what I'm going to do, should I no, for example, this is like sketching. That's not the one. Is this one here? Yeah. So I'm going to get this one there. And you see what happens here. So that's getting stuck there. And there is one thing that is called the face graphic user interface follow head. So you can go from 0 to 1. And if you just put it into 1, it's going to follow you. Okay. So if you click here, it's going to go up and down, and it's quite useful because like that, like you can always go to the face and see the result. Okay. So yeah, I mean, we can do this. We can get this and go down and over there, and actually we can make it like that, like, and rotate it a little bit, you know, even go down. Whoa, it just went too much. And then a little bit more over there. And as I was saying, like this kind of rotation, I can just like get my IK, like, and as I was saying, maybe I can do it from here, you know, like I can get this here and over there and rotate it a little bit. And I can get this one here and I can move it. Oops, that one's not for moving. Did I get the FK? Well, anyway, this is like the first part. Probably I should get this one here and just make it like that. That's better. And I don't remember exactly how the matrix one like pose was, but you know, we can find something similar. So we can get that, we can go there, and we can get an IK over here. So you can see that the IK was really there. So sometimes you just need to move it to the right position. So it's there. Then I'm going to use the local so that I put over here, and it's like, so like that. And then I can do the same thing here. Okay. I'm just doing this not because I'm getting fun, just like for you to get a little bit of how you can start working with that. Okay. So we could just go down. Be careful with the poles because it can be really like complicated to see things that look good, and sometimes because your pole is just not on the right place. So be careful with the poles. Okay. And then the pole would be here. And of course, this pole is meant to be behind the elbow. So just like try to keep it behind the elbow all the time. And for example, in this here, we can just like put it like that, do it like this, and maybe move a little bit more. And we can just pull the elbow over here. And like this kind of stretchy things. So many times you just go to, I mean, but if you're animators, you already know, but sometimes you just go to some places and then you go backwards in order to see how is this happening. Okay. So I got some issues there. Did I? No, it's there. So probably I missed a key, and I should check. Maybe I have some keys that are in like one frame before, and I should check that. Okay, it can happen. So sometimes this kind of thing you need to be when you key things, and if you move a little bit, you need to double check that. Okay, so that would be it. and just be careful with this and try to do all this. So I was trying to do this kind of movement. But yeah, we can do that. So for example, we have this as we were mentioning, and it's like following. So if we most probably my issue there is that I was not keying that. So I should key it. Oh, I had it there, but if I go to the 0, here it was 0, and I would put 1. So it was coming to there. Okay. So now, yeah, I should check a little bit what's going on there. But anyway, you understand what I mean. So basically I come here, and then I could just come to the face and check this and say I don't want, like, this is getting tough. Oh, this looks like more like a smile, something like that. And then I want to separate a little bit the lips. But well, I'm not doing like something really amazing. But well, you can see here that we can play with lots of things. And yeah, so you can just try to play as much as you want. We can just come here, for example, to the face and move this there, you know, make this a little bit like deform it. And well, he's just like saying quite fine. But anyway, you can see it. Okay. So now, as I've done all of this here, I just have everything in here, and I can close it. If I save it, I can close it. Let's go back to our control rig in class, Doomsday level sequence, Doomsday. So this one, I have it here. Let's see, everything was there. And let's be back. So we talked a little bit about the MetaHumans and what we can do with them. This widget, it's not helpful for the Doomsday because we haven't created one, but in an advanced form, we could create it, okay? So one thing that we're going to do, and I want to show you, is that when we select a skeletal mesh, there is one thing that we can say that it's bake animation sequence, okay? So when we do this, we need to select the folder. We go to in class, and let's put it there. So it's not still a skeleton sequence, it's anim or animation. I can put it like anim. And then let's see, like Doomsday, bless you, sorry, man. And I'm going to put wave. Okay, so I'm putting it here. It just like brings me this export. I want to export transforms, everything. I don't want to record in world space, although my Doomsday is in 0, so that would be all more or less the same. Interpolation linear, curve interpolation, like everything it seems to be okay. Export to animation sequence. So when I open it here, I see that I already have my animation. And this is perfectly an animation as the ones that were created. Nice one, Olivier. So, and it's the ones, like the ones we have from here. So, oh, this is pose, but for example, we have this animation that actually it's the same type of animation as this one here, okay? Well, this is a little bit broken, but you know, this I should have moved everything a little bit, and this is because of the hierarchy and so on. But yeah, so the point here is that right now you could get, and this is a concept that I want to show you. I could create another level sequence, cinematics level sequence. I'm going to put here anim.
Hey, what's going
and then Doomsday. Wait, okay. So I could bring this one here. I could go to, let's get the animation sequence, not from the MetaHuman, but from the class. And I could get here, I have it. So I could bring it here. I didn't got it, but I can put it there. And then right now, oh, I have, remember what we mentioned in the sequence class? I should mute this or I should delete it. And now it's doing it. Okay. So we can actually do this. Okay. We can actually do this kind of things. And we can bake it, we can mix it, we can blend them afterwards. So yeah.
You edit the animation there.
So I cannot edit the animation here. It's just a way. But one of the things that I could do and that you can always do is this, you can get here and you can go to the skeletal mesh and you can say edit bake to control rig. Okay. And you decide what kind of control rig you want to use, but it needs to have a backward solver. So do you remember that we mentioned forward solver and backward solver? So forward solver is for what we just did. With the controls, we move the controls and the bone reacts and follows the bones as we mentioned. What the backward solver means is that we have the animation. If we come here, we can see all the skeletons are moving. So we have the notifies and so on. But basically, all the different skeletons are moving. Let's get here, all hierarchy. So we see all of this. But the point is that these bones need to go to the control rig. So need to move the controls. So the bones moving the controls is the backward solver. So if we go to the other one that you have here, like the one that we've already provided to you, you have backward solve. And basically what we get is a list of FK controls that are all of this. And we say for each control in the same bones at the same array, because they are ordered the same way, set bone transform. Okay, so just like freak, it's like an immediate FK, but I'll show you a way of doing the same thing. But basically, as we want to do that, the only one that has a backward solve is the one that we've already delivered. So this is why you can do it with this one and you cannot do it with this one because we don't have a backward solve. Okay. So this is the thing. What else I wanted to say? So if we do this, we can also do something if we don't have it, if we don't have a backward solve developed, we can do with an FK control rig, edit with FK control rig. And FK control rig is basically getting all the bones and generating. So it's like if we got this list, like all of this list, like that, create item array. So you get all the list of bones. Yeah, exactly. All the list of bones. And then you generate an FK control for them. Okay, so basically it's more or less, this is the same, but instead of all the bones, I think we have here, I have them here. We have 42, I think, 43 bones. If we do this, that would be 124. So you would have right now, if we do this, I'll just save everything. If we do this, we'll get FK, I get this, it says export transforms exactly, and reduce keys. This is important. And the tolerance, you'll decide it, like more tolerance, less keys, less detail, more tolerance, less keys, less details, less tolerance, more keys, more detail. Okay, so you can create it, and then you'll see that we have this. And right now, you can edit anything. Okay. So you have all of this to edit, all these keys. So sometimes you get a lot of this, but we know that probably, for example, these two at North are not even needed, or a few things. So we can actually get this and clean them and just say, okay, I want only this one. I'll just get the others and I will remove these ones, etc., etc. So this is a little bit what the way of cleaning them. If I would just like increase the tolerance, I would get less of these keys, but I just moved that one. I would get less keys, but a little bit less precise. Okay. So that's it. I see here how the lower arm has all these things. Okay. So yeah, this is it. And some other thing before just like entering, we could also come to, I'll just like leave this one here, and we can come here and we can edit it. So if we have this sequence, and if we have the backward solver, we can directly click it and we can link a level sequence to an animation. Okay, so it could be the same. So same thing, back to control rig. So I could modify an animation from here and it will be linked to the animation. Because in the animation sub-editor, you cannot modify this. So the point is that once I get this and I modify it, you can see that I can open the level sequence. So if I save this, I can come here and open the level sequence that I'm editing. So I would be able to edit my animation here, and then I will see the results here. I can unlink the level sequence, or I can create new, sequences from here. Bake animation sequence, or just like a pose asset. If I just want to say this is a pose, so I would come here and I would create a pose. Okay. So so it's mandatory to bake it. No, you don't need to bake it 100%. Okay, you can work with control rig, and that's not an issue. So another thing that you can do is that you could add additives. So you could come here and add an FK that it will be just an additive. So it keeps the same thing, but for example, it just like moves. Let's come here. I want to remember that I had this. Let me check. I'm not watching the display the hierarchy. Display hierarchy. I don't know. Not getting control shapes right now. That's interesting. Spaces. It's not. Probably it's a matter of just like opening back and again. So the point here is that I'm missing my controls. I don't know why they're not showing. So the point here is that I could add an FK additive layer, and I could modify this one here. It's the upper arm R2. There we go. In this situation, and I could, for example, come here and set it there and probably move it a little bit, not move it, maybe, yeah, maybe move it, the clavicle. I don't know if this is the clavicle, just the upper arm. I think it's the upper arm. So I could move it a little bit, like to put it there. And then if I do this, so this is going to keep everything, and it's just going to move this part. Okay. So now I can decide if I can like mute it and use it standard in the standard way, or I can also move it here, and this will be doing all of it. You see that basically it's doing this part and it's moving that way. So if we also isolate this one, this would be the movement. So it makes no sense in case it's only there. So this is the additive. Just double check how it's working. I'm just showing you things that you can do. Okay. So what I would like to do is that I would need like about 20 minutes or so to do our retargeting, and maybe we add like 5 minutes of questions. So we could jump with a few questions here, and then we can do a.
There are two main questions.
Yes.
One is how to blend animations, like I want the character running and then saying
Yeah.
hi. And then if you can repeat how to bake the animation, I think it's more or less related to that.
Okay, the one I'm going to do the baking of the animation because that one's easy. So let me check. FK control rig. This, oh, this one's here. This is the one. This is the original one. So basically, to bake the animation, you always need to go to the skeletal mesh. In case of the MetaHuman, and this one's a little bit trickier. If you go to the MetaHuman, you'll see that you have two, and you cannot bake both of them at the same time. So you need to go to the skeletal mesh, piece of skeleton that is here, and you will be able to bake the sequence. So you will be able to bake the animation sequence of the face, and you will be able to bake the body. Okay. In the case of the Doomsday, everything is in one. So it's MetaHumans are a little bit different because they use two skeletal meshes. Okay, so they have two skeletons, and then it's a blueprint that mixes them. But in this situation, basically, it's one skeletal mesh, and you will be able to do it directly through here. So when you bake it, you just need to select where you want to put it. That's it. That's the biggest concerns. And then, for example, if I do it again, in class, as I was saying, you can put it here or here, and then you just name it, and there you go. Okay. So that's how I got this one here. So that's about baking the animation. Now we were talking about blending animations.
Yes.
So if we go here, Doomsday blend. So one of the things that we can do, as we were saying, let's bring, oops, not here. Don't know why I clicked there. Let's bring our Doomsday. Where is our skeletal mesh? So let's bring Doomsday here. I'll get rid of the control rig, and I'll have the animation. So I don't know the animations from Steel. So let me just find like an Edo or something like that. Well, that's not what I was looking for. Kind of. It looked like he's a warrior. It's like probably this is the best Edo that I can get. So I'll get the Edo. Still Edo here. So we can see it's like that. Okay. If you want to loop it, it's just like keep going, doing it like this. You can extend it as much as you want. You'll see the end with a little line up there. And now what we can do is we can go here and we can get new animation that could be wave. So we have this and we have this. So one of the things that we can do is just basically come here. Pretty easy. And that can be as much of a blending as you want. Now I can get this one there. I can put it here. And I can just like put it there. So I'm kind of all the time in Needle. Like he starts waving and then he goes back. Yep. I love the drag and drop things. Me too. Me too. So let's see what we have here. Come on, Daniel, we're finishing. So I think it's pretty easy. You can see here. There is no drop, just drag and drop. Okay, more questions related to this, or do you want that we jump to Mixamo and
Yeah, that was one of the questions, and I think that's retargeting, like how you apply a Mixamo animation to a MetaHuman, for instance.
So let's jump to a retargeting. Okay. I mean, we also have, if you want, we can go through. This is ours. We can also go a little bit through all of this that we have here, and he can explain it to you. Maybe not doing it, but just like doing small things and then explaining you how to get there. So let's go. I'll just leave it open. So let's go. How many of you know Mixamo? Yeah. I mean, if you're not related to animations, probably you don't know it. You use it every day. That's nice. So Mixamo, I mean, they developed this library of animations and the characters. Adobe bought them because why not? And you have here like 52 pages of different animations. So you have characters, and this is something that you might not feel that you need to bring a character, and actually you might not want, you probably don't want one of these characters. Some of them, I mean, they're usually stylized, and you can see totally like this guy here. You see? I guess you can use them if you would like to. This one always remembers me to one of the, to the Avengers movie. There is a guy, a little skinnier, but it's similar a little bit to this guy, probably because of the elf of the ears and so. But yeah, one of the things that why I'm mentioning this is because I recommend to use and to download a skeleton that it's more or less proportional to yours. So for example, I wouldn't use this one in order to download an animation for Doomsday. I would go more to someone like this, because the retargeting, what it's going to do is to try to find the transforms and then trying to match them to the other one. So it's always a little bit better to just find a similar skeleton. Although with a lot of customization, it should work anyways. Okay, but yeah, I imagine this one that it's more like big shoulders, small head, and then you can use this one here is like huge head. Yeah, thank you, Amir. That's the one I was talking about. So you can see that this is very, very different to our Doomsday. So what I would recommend is use this one instead of that one. Or if you're going to be using like a standard mannequin or a metahuman, you can use this one here. Anyway, I want to force myself a little bit, and I love this Michelle character. So that is like extra stylized. I think it's pretty cool, isn't it? Isn't she? So yeah, I'm going to use Michelle, and then you can get the animations working. Okay, so we can do like a zombie stand up. We can do a body block, or the one that I like. Why not dancing a little bit samba? Oh, that's samba. I think there's a salsa. I think that it's a salsa dancing. Yeah. So we have both of this. I mean, it's just to make it a little bit funny. So we can use many. Okay, so now we can get here and we can actually, I mean, we could upload our own character and that can also help. But then when we download, I think we lose the reference. So I usually, and I mean, for retargeting purposes, I kind of need a new skeleton. So what we have here is that we can upload our character or download. This is what I'm going to do. I would like to bring the skin. Sorry. Without skin is that I don't get the mesh. Okay. And here with skin, I will get Michelle. So I don't want any keyframe reduction. I want 30 frames per second because more or less is what I'm going to be using. And I want an FBX binary. That's totally fine. So I downloaded. And let's put it here. Usually it comes down. You get the name of the animation, but as it's my first, I'm going to call it Michelle. So I've downloaded this. Now I need to import it. Okay. So let's organize this a little bit. So let's put here Michelle. Let's bring this like sequences. And let me just get all of this here. Let me put here. Why is this here? Oh, this is the one that it was automatically generated. So actually, I would come here and I say animations. This is not necessary. This is just for me to not to like be lost in my own mess. So and then control breaks. Okay. So let's put it here. So when we come here, I'm going to import Michelle. So let me just let me get rid of this. I always when I want to go to the Explorer, Windows Explorer, I just go here. So I get the FBX directly. I import it here. So this is what we've already been talking. I want the skeletal mesh. I want the mesh, and I could not bring the animations, but actually I want the animation. So I'm putting it here, and everything should be more or less okay. I mean, probably I get a few errors, but then I'll double check if everything is working properly. Use T0 to reforms. Let's see what I get. Importing animation track. It's taken a little bit more than I expected, honestly. Let's see what you say here. Transparent to apply to part of the area, you said. Yeah, exactly. If you need to delete anything from the geometry from a character, or you go to your DCC and then bring it back, or just make it transparent. How much does Mixamo cost? Nothing. It's free. For free? Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. With skin, exactly. Thank you, Fernando. So I get this. I mean, smoothing groups, you know, sometimes we get this kind of error. For smoothing groups, okay. Group bones, if they're correct, please set the use T0 as response option and that to bind. So this is a little bit what I was mentioning before, but probably is not getting any problem. And animation length is not compatible with input frame rate, okay, because subframe is 0.6. So our animation length basically it's not a multiple, like the frames are not multiple of the length, so it means not a big deal. Yeah. Most probably, and now I can check it if I just come here and I go to animation sequence and it works. There you go. Lovely. You know, everything's working perfectly. Yeah. Nice. Hopefully I could dance like that. but let's see. Maybe we can virtually dance. So here, one of the things that I wanted to mention is that when we come to here, one of the things that we're going to see in animation is this section that says IK rig. And we have here IK rig and IK retargeter. Okay, so let's click IK rig, the yellow one, and I'm going to put IK and then call it Michelle. Why not? Okay. And now we're going to open it and it's empty, of course, because we didn't apply a skeletal mesh, okay? So we want to look here and we want to check for a skeletal mesh. And we're getting Michelle. Voila. So we have Michelle with all here. And we're going to see one thing, because basically what we're going to do is we are using an IK rig of Michelle, and we're going to check another IK rig. And I'm going to use the mannequin because it already has that. Okay, the metahuman also, but I think just to bring the mannequin that we haven't used it before. We could go to characters. We have the animation. Let's find the IK rig. So you can see here that if we open, we have the IK rig of the metahuman, of the mannequin. And I want to show you something. One important thing that we will see is the solver stack. We're going to see the hierarchy and the retarget chain. So we are going to talk about this. And we're going to put a lot of emphasis here on what happens here, okay? Because this is actually what we're going to be mapping here, okay? So we can put this and it works perfectly fine. But let's see what happens. Let's go here and I'm going to create, it's not going to work, by the way, but I'm just going to show it to you that it doesn't. So if we go here, same way, like IK rig, and instead of the yellow one, we get the IK retargeter. And here I put IK retarget, or however you prefer. I'm going to put, and there's two concepts. When I open it, it will tell me the, or like the source rig, and then the destination rig or the target rig, okay? So we're going to come here and the source, it's going to be Michelle, because I want to get the animation from Mixamo and bring it to my mannequin. So my animation is coming from Michelle, and then I'm going to put it to the mannequin. Okay. So when I open it, I'm going to say, I want Michelle, and the target, it's my mannequin. So there's where I have both of them. So one of the things, let's see, one of the things that I'll see is that I have my source skeletal mesh and then my target skeletal mesh. So right now I can see that both of them are in the same place, but I actually want to move them to be similar to the other. Maybe that's too much. Like one there and the other one's there. Okay. And now I have the asset browser, and as my source one is this one here, I'm going to see all the animations that are related to this skeleton. And I only have one because I only brought one. But you know what? If I bring more, that we can bring more afterwards, they're going to be work and they're going to be useful too. So I click it and oh, what a pity. It's not working. Mannequin doesn't know how to dance salsa yet. Okay. So let's stop it and let's continue. Okay. Like you can see source, target, but all of this is empty. You see none, 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 because it has nothing. Michelle has nothing. And then the chain mapping, it doesn't know any source chain because we don't have any chain here. Okay. So let's pause this. Let's reset this and let's start doing our IK rig. So we have all of this, and you remember that we were talking about IK rig, and we had our basic IK rig that was this arm. But if you go, you need to know that there is one that says full body IK. Okay, so this is actually a thing, and you have many effectors, many bone settings, a root bone, etc., excluded bones. So this full body IK is the one that we're going to be using here. And this is a solver. So we're coming here and we're going to say full body IK. Okay. So when we say full body IK, that actually, if you see the mannequin, is the same one that we have here. And this is what we want to resemble. Okay. You can do as many IK rigs as you need and as many IK retargeters as you need. So you can do many, many different ones in case you have an IK rig that is done in a different way. The best thing is to do an IK that it's similar to the one that you've already have from the other source, or the source and the target should be quite similar. So we're going to do Michelle's retargeting similar to the one that we have here. Just for you to know, and it's like, oh, I want to put it to a MetaHuman, and it's like, no problem at all. Let's come here. Let's go to animation. Let's find IK rig. Let's go to MetaHumans, and let's open it. The MetaHuman works the same way. It has a full body IK, and this is why I'm doing it like this. Okay. So if you want to bring Mixamo animations into your MetaHumans, just do the full body IK. So let's forget about the MetaHuman and let's go to Michelle. So first, we will need to see that we have goals or solvers, or as we saw before, I think it was, yeah, it's called goals here in the IK. So basically we have hand goal. And you see here that the property is in one full body IK. So I just want to see how many goals do we have. So we have one for the hand, left hand, one for the right hand, one for the right foot, and one for the left foot. So we're going to do the same thing with Michelle. Although I need a root bone. You see here, root bone. Which root bone do I have here? It's my pelvis. So the pelvis is going to be the selected, the root bone here. So I'm going to get the hips, that is actually the same thing. Let me just get it all hierarchy here. The hips are going to be my root bone. So set root bone to selected solver. There we go. So now when I click here, I have my root bone hips. Okay. So now it's saying I'm missing goals totally. So I need to come here and I need to right click and say, I need to click both this one here and this one here. And I need to say new IK goal. So I have it here. Let's go to the right hand, new IK goal. Let's go to the left foot. I think I prefer to put, let's check which one is there. So it's the base, the toe base. Yeah, let's come here, new IK goal. Yeah, exactly, that's it. And then come here to IK, so toe base IK goal. And let's save. So the most important thing is to see if this is working. Okay. And it is. So you see that now, I mean, it's not 100% perfect because we would need to put constraints, something that I prefer to, we can see those afterwards, but now I prefer to finish. But basically we can do this and we can start working like this, like that. So it's not perfect, but well, it starts working. What we need to know is that it actually moves the skeleton. Okay. So right now we have our solver working. So let's see what is happening right now. Let's click play. It doesn't work. So we're missing something. What are we missing? The chains here. Okay. So you can come here, add a new chain, and say, for example, pelvis, add chain, and then come here to the bone, select hips, and leave it like that. So you remember that we were mentioning these goals. So sometimes this is the name, this is the start bone, and this is the end bone. So we can have these splines here. Okay. And sometimes we will need to set an IK goal, but not here, not with the splines. We'll need to set it with the left hand. But let's go now. So instead of adding new chain here and just selecting the start bone and the end bone, I will just select all these three here and I'll do it like that. And I will set new retarget chain. And I don't want a goal because it doesn't have a goal and I want to add the chain. So it says spline, the first one, and then to the second one. So right now, and what it's very important is that you see that retarget chain actually has this. So these are involved in this retarget chain. Okay. Everything okay?
Yeah.
So right now we want to see, and you want to study a little bit how these are done. Okay. I know it by heart because I've done it quite a few times. But for example, you have root, we don't have root, we don't have this bone with Mixamo. We have head. So our head here would be neck one, neck two, head. But this one doesn't have head one, head two. And sometimes just be careful, don't miss this ones. Sometimes it can be different head, top, end. You'd think that it can be the third one, but this is not head, top, end. Okay, so the head here is actually the head here. So we are going to be using these ones, new retarget head chain, and we're going to put this one here. We're going to leave this one empty. So now it's left shoulder. The shoulder, I'm going to put it alone. Okay, left shoulder without, because I know that here actually it's called clavicle. You see it's clavicle, left, it's the same one. Here, it's just this one. okay? And this bone, so I need to do something that it's as similar as possible. And then I get left arm, forehand, forearm, and left hand. So I'll be getting these two. But in this time, it's the first one that I'm be saying, I want a goal. And it immediately detects the goal, okay? I'm not going to be using the Pinkett. Oh, why not? I mean, just let's use them. The point is that I think that the mannequin doesn't use this fourth. Just let me check that out. Middle three. No, it doesn't put, just be careful with this, just to match them, because it can be something tricky. So you can do this, you can get this three and then just new retarget. So the problem here is that left arm, that would be left hand, thumb, and add chain. So we can get left hand, index, left hand middle, left hand ring, and left hand pinky. So right now we have these, and you know what? Oh, left arm, this is shoulder, this is not left arm. This should be clavicle. And this is left arm. So one important thing many times is that you try to call them the same way, because it's going to be way easier for Unreal to detect them. Okay. So one thing that you can do, you see left clavicle, and then we can mirror chain. Okay, so if we right click one of the bones, not here, one of the bones, we can mirror change, and it's like, is it chain now right clavicle, then right shoulder? Yeah, it is. Like mirror chain, is it right arm? Yeah, it is. And goal, same thing. So we can actually save our time here. So let's see, we have right shoulder, right arm. It's always good that you can double test and double check that it's working properly. It is. So mirror chain, add, mirror chain, add. Actually, let's see, middle, pinky, mirror chain. Okay, so we can get all of this, and that's it. We have all this part. So now let's talk about legs. Up leg, foot leg, and we can get all of this. So we are going to get this new retarget chain with goal. Here we have it. Left leg, we can mirror chain right leg. And there we go. So this is what we have right now. So realize that we don't have IK bones, we don't have rig bone, twist bones, sorry. So we have most of our bones retargeted in chains here, and without full volley IK soul. So let's see. Let's go back here. And now in the chain mapping, we have no chain map yet. But we can come here to auto map chains and say, let's map all exact. I've tried. I didn't call the ones that are hand. So I could just like remove, if they are all exact, you see that I have these ones, but I'm missing the ones that are, for example, root. It's root, I don't have it. I don't have, no, I have it. Pelvis. I could try to match it here. And then I would have like left index. That would be left hand index, not metacarpian, left hand middle, left half hand thumb, left hand pinky, left hand ring, and that's it. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exactly. So then I'll bring and look for the same thing, right hand pinky, right hand ring, right hand middle, right hand index, and right up. This one, right hand thumb. I check that these ones are okay, and they are. So let's save it. And let's see what it starts happening. So for now, things are working. And well, it's working a little bit somehow. So the point here is that whenever we start doing this, it's kind of, it just like puts, so we're having an issue here with the root that we'll need to check for now. So the problem in this case is that this root, it's, I don't think, so we have these hips, we're getting these root. So the root, the pelvis, just let me check here 1 second. So we should double check this, but one of the things that is happening here is that we're getting like a lot of destruction of these kind of things. Okay, so sometimes we just need to control the rotation alpha, or if we need to actually come to the IK and check if we actually need to like a rotation. So we have, for example, interpolated, so source and target chains are normalized by their length. Then each target bone rotation is generated by finding the rotation, the set normalized distance of the source chain, interpolated between the neighboring bones. So sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. So just like analyze that. Usually like none, sometimes it's better, but sometimes it doesn't work. So one of the things is that usually you need to work here and just make it like control it a little bit. Okay. And then it's working here. So you just need to come and see if what we're doing here, it's basically what we're expecting. Okay. So this is a little bit what we need to start controlling. And if I would need to control the root, but I don't know why it's not moving it. So we have this root, need to retarget it. So probably this is because, let me check the root here. So the root bone is hips. The root bone is pelvis. So pelvis is this one here. And this is the root. So this is the issue that I'm having here. That my pelvis, when it moves, the root, it just stays in the same place. So for example, this is like doing me this kind of problem, that there is no exact root here. So this kind of rooted animations in this situation, it would be more in a different way. Okay, so we'll need to like modify that a little bit. But yeah, so the important thing is that I wanted to bring here, let's bring one that it doesn't have this kind of rooted ones. So let's get this one there. And let's see, this one's, that one. Yeah, it's moving, it's also dancing. Yeah, for example, let's bring this one here. So now we're downloading and getting this one there. I will just like check a little bit more on that. If anybody has this kind of issue, just let me know. and we can debug it a little bit more. So in salsa dancing, Michelle, I'm going to just copy paste this. I'm going to click here. I'm going to put it like that. And it's okay. So it's already there. I'm coming here. Let's get these. It was in our class. In class, what was there? Nothing at all. So I've deleted. In Michelle, I had this. So let's import it here. So I have this salsa dancing, this FBX. I don't want the skeletal mesh. I just want, I don't want to import the mesh. This skeleton, it recognizes that it's the Michelle. I want to import the animation only and export it time and import. So I should be getting this one there. Yeah, so there is not a big movement here. So the point here is that let's open that one. And I should have both. So you see, now I should have this. And well, it's a little bit there. I would need to just like get a little bit more with the chains and maybe the IK, the body IK, the full body IK, it's not perfect. Okay. But yeah, we need to control a little bit this to control the rotation offset and control all these kind of elements just to rotate this and check which things are working as should be expected. So the IK, basically, we just need to control it in order not to happen all these kind of things, okay? So you can do this in the IK, you can modify the FK rotation alpha as we were talking about, and then basically it's a little bit what we're getting here. About constraints, you see that these kind of constraints, we're getting a lot of this, okay? So we could start doing like bone constraints. So this is a little bit what we have here. So we should just like position stiffness, rotation stiffness. So these are the values that we need to control in order to limit the movement that we're going to have, okay? So stiffness, like this is going to scale down the values that come from here. And in the limits, it's going to be generating a maximum and minimum values, okay? So usually what it's the best thing is trying to get this as similar as possible and hopefully approaching this. But what it's true is that if it's not working like perfectly, we just need to like double check if, for example, the IK is not working as expected, or maybe this bone is a little bit more rotated than the other one, or things like that. Okay, because bones might be in a little bit different. So try doing this work with the offsets, the rotations here. So for example, we can do it like that. I think it's not this one here. It would be that one there. So we can start working here. So we can start checking what's the value in there. Okay. And yeah, exactly. So we're getting here. And like the more that we put it here, so this is why I mentioned to try to get this like as much as similar as possible, okay? Because then this is going to be easier for you. So for example, this one, I see that I need to do a little bit more rotation there. Actually, as I don't see that, I should put none. Yeah, but it's getting there. This one here, a little bit the same thing. So first it's better to do the Z there, and a little bit like that. Then let's put it like this, and then a little bit like that. Oops. Okay. Yeah, rotate it there. So this could work a little bit. Yeah. So you see. And of course, the fingers here, we wouldn't have them. Okay, so we would, if we want to target the fingers also, we should add a new solver, and probably we should add the limb IK. So basically, we should add like the fingers and the this, or maybe directly the set transform. The set transform is like an FK. Okay, so if you set transform and you go like every single solver for the I'll say it, for the fingers, you'll get like, and then you do it the same way here. And as the maps and the chaining maps are together, you will start like getting that kind of movement here in the fingers. So this is a little bit like that. Yeah, so basically you get the head, you can see if you can go bone by bone. Okay, so you can do it with the IK, or you can do it like that. You can just like none, and then so basically check, but you can see that it's not like moving a lot. Okay. Yeah, and definitely would need to, in this case, the mannequin and the Mixamo character, we should definitely work on the hips and the root in that part. But this is a little bit what you have, what we have, and actually it works pretty well, as we can see here. And one of the things, let's see if it works like that. So we should, it's working pretty good. Again, the hands, I should work a little bit more on them. And yeah, so finally, once we have this, okay, and just I'm going to finish with this. We can export selected animation, so we can get all of them, and if I can start bringing more and more and more, and I can select all of them, I can come here and export selected animations. And then I go to control rig, I would go here, and I would go to, not Michelle, but I would go to the mannequin, because this will be the mannequin. So I can just create a new folder and set up mannequin. And then I would add maybe animation retarget. I don't know, I'm just like inventing it. And then it's like export. Okay. So you can see that now I open it and I have this. And you know what? I would be able to come here, back to control rig, and then to put it here. So I would be able to get a control rig with this and making it work. Okay. So now I didn't get it, but I would be able to do that. Let me, or edit with FK control rig. Something's going on here, but I should be able to do that. Okay. So this is a little bit the workflow, how I can work with the animation, keep them in sequencer, create an animation, bring animations, retarget, set the FK control rig, and so on. So this is kind of an environment, like a framework where you can start working with all of this and just like, work and play with them. Okay. Yeah, Jose Carlos is telling me, yeah, the mannequin, like add the root to the source chain. Yeah, I should come here and add the root. So exactly. So basically, but I will, if you have more questions about this, we can just like add it and afterwards and send it to you. Okay. Big questions about this, or no?
They were saying that maybe you have to have both in T-pose, or that doesn't matter for this.
So the point is that for that, I would need to modify them at the very beginning. So
Okay.
I should go to the skeleton, modify that, probably like generate a new one. But yeah, it's like what I'm trying to do is like to get an approximation as best as possible. And like that, yeah. The mannequin is a pose. By the Manny, it's a pose, and then Michelle is, Mixamo is T pose, but we can get a very good approximations of this. Okay, so the point here, like in Unreal Engine 4, there was an IK retargeter that was, it was not IK, it was like a retargeter. and it was like mapping, and you could do very little. Actually, it did a very good job. But the thing here that you spend way more time preparing all of this, but you have way more control. So it's more like a case by case scenario, and just try to do that. The mannequin works with the full body IK, but as I say, not everything gets like fingers or things like that. And then it's just a matter of going here and controlling it. And yeah, so get all of these kind of things. Okay, so okay, so I'm trying to see here.
There was a question
Okay,
how to animate.
services, the root it's none. Yeah, the root is none here. I'm just checking. Root bone. Set target root. Maybe this is what I was missing. Just let me check. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that. I missed, like, I was explaining everything and I missed every target. Sorry. So this is the important thing. I missed one step. I went directly to the root of the body, but it's important to, you see retarget root. So all of the retargeting roots in the IK, so all of the skeletal meshes here on the IK retargeting, the IK rigs needs to have a retarget root. So here, as you can say, it's the pelvis. In Michelle, it's the hips. I just forgot, and it's like this retargeting, it's set retarget root. I missed this, and that's why it was not moving. But yeah, now you can see everything is working. Oh, this is funny, you know, because I just like set rotation mode, nothing. So yeah, it's like you can just like control the rotation of that, and that's it. Okay, so that should actually have helped us with the other hips too. So yeah, there you go. I mean, as I was saying, always the hands are a little bit tricky, but it's pretty decent. And yeah, I would say it's a success. Maybe we go to small details, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, I repeat again, the thing that I was missing is that I jumped directly to the full body solver root, that it needs a root as you have here, but you have to set the retarget root for the IK rig, okay? And this is right click and you set the retarget root. So I missed this part. I just forgot about it. Yeah. So there you go. So the mannequin knows how to dance salsa now. Yeah, and it's just like very easy. I mean, I'm just going to show it to you back again. It's like we could go to, I don't know, Kung Fu. I don't know if there's Kung Fu. I mean, anything, just like anything that we would like. Jumping down any loop, center block, or a start plank. We can do this, download. And if this looks good here, I mean, it's a little bit not the best there, but, or this punch or something like that. I can download it without skin because I don't need it. And illegal elbow punch, I'll put Michelle. I'll save it. It's there. And then I go back here. Let's put it back. Michelle, I'll just get the illegal elbow punch. I'll put it here. I want only to import the animation. I'll import it. I can see it here. It's the new one. And that's it. So now I have the issue with this. I will need to modify it a little bit, and that's it. You can see here that it's working. Okay. Yeah, and you can just like click all of this and export and generate them. So you'll have the animations for Michelle and the animations for the Mac. Okay. So, end of today's trip. End of today's trip.
Intense.
A lot of concepts, a lot of new things. And well, you know, there's always plenty of room to keep learning, but hopefully you got this and you could follow. If not, yeah. Well, don't worry, Elena, that happens sometimes.
Cool.
It was painful, but very interesting. Well, maybe you can watch it a couple of more times. And it will be less painful every time. But yeah, remember, you can always ask us through the Discord support. And yeah, so that's it. As we could see, we saw this and end of class. Class is perfect. Thank you very much, Elena. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your lunch.
Yeah.
We'll do the same, hopefully. And see you tomorrow. Oh, by the way, important thing. Tomorrow we have 2 guest speakers. Okay. So we will start at 4 GMT +2. So it will be Joe Rush from 4 to 5, and from 5 to 6 it will be Rishabh Nanda. So the guys are rock stars. Both of them have been like alumni, like former students of mine in the fellowships, and they're great. Joe has done the storytelling and the world building. Actually, I just want to, probably he will talk about this, but it's Joe Rush. I don't want to butcher his name. But yeah, he has here his own, and he has also explained fellowship. Probably he can tell us a little bit. This was the storytelling, I think. He also did the world building, and you can see his work. He will be talking about it. He has also, the world building fellowship. He was like he's teacher, professor at university, and he's also head of education in Pixamundo. Really amazing, his work. And then is Rishabh Nanda. He's a real-time lead, I think, in Ubisoft. He will be telling us, if you go to the world building showcase fellowship, you will be able to see that, I don't know if it's here, building fellowship. It's not there, but well, anyway, you will see that both their projects are there. So if you come here, you can see this. I want to check if Rishabh's, this is his project. So this is from Rehab, and this is his project. And then we have Joe, that is this project. Okay. So they will tell us a little bit how they do it, what they enjoy the most, and so on. So hope you enjoy it, and see you tomorrow. Remember, 4 p.m. you have your calendar. It will be 2 hours, one guest speaker, 1 hour per guest speaker, and we'll be here. Thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch, work hard, and see you tomorrow.
See you. Bye.
Bye.